Chapter 114. Jiang Tian, you're finally back. Zhao Xueqing stood up and walked to Jiang Tian's side. She touched his cheek and said with a pained expression, "Look, you're tanned." Was the journey tiring? Tears rolled down her cheeks and she forgot to wipe them. She just looked at Jiang Tian lovingly, at the face that she missed so much. It's okay. I'll just take it as a vacation. Jiang Tian smiled faintly and wiped away her tears. At this moment, Zhao Xueqing realized that there was a beautiful woman following behind Jiang Tian. She was tall and slender, with exquisite curves. Her skin was smooth and creamy. She had a beautiful face without any makeup, but it was still as beautiful as the morning sun reflecting the snow. Who is she? Zhao Xueqing opened her mouth and realized that her voice was trembling badly. Her heart was in her mouth and it was so tight that it was difficult for her to breathe. Her pretty face was already pale. Jiang Tian used to be a playboy. He hung around bars and nightclubs all day and hooked up with countless women. Now, Jiang Tian's martial arts were shocking and his abilities were extraordinary. Many rich people submitted to him. It was natural for him to have multiple wives and concubines. How could she stop him? "Oh, this is our maid. You can think of her as a maid or a bodyguard. Her name is Shin Mange." Jiang Tian smiled gently, then turned to glare at Shin Mange and said, "Come and greet me. This is my wife. You have to greet me every day and kowtow 3 times and 9 times. If you dare to disrespect me, I won't forgive you. There's actually such a beautiful woman in this world. She's like an immortal." Shin Mange was proud of her beauty, but when she saw Zhao Xueqing, she realized that she was slightly inferior to her. She gasped in admiration. Her features were picturesque, and her temperament was ethereal. She had a kind of refined aura, like a fairy from the 9th heaven. She seemed to be an otherworldly person. At this moment, she also understood why Jiang Tian kept thinking about her when they were in Hangkou and Shenong school. She couldn't help but be envious and jealous. Maid Mange greets mistress. At this moment, after hearing Jiang Tian's scolding, Shin Mange came back to her senses. She was so scared that her delicate body trembled, then she walked to Zhao Xueqing and kowtowed 9 times respectfully. She is our maid?" Zhao Xueqing was deeply shocked. Shin Mange's body exuded a noble aura that could only be cultivated by a rich and powerful family. It couldn't be faked, but at this moment, she actually knelt down in front of her and called her mistress. But because of this, Zhao Xueqing also let down her guard and felt relieved. She quickly helped Shin Mange up and said with a smile, "Sister Mange, please get up. Don't listen to Jiang Tian. In the future, we can call each other sisters. There's no need to be so polite." Shin Mange was distressed. The etiquette was even stricter than in the sect. Hearing this, she couldn't help but have a good impression of Zhao Xueqing. She thought that she was much easier to get along with than her master, the Devil King. She looked at Jiang Tian again, as if asking for his opinion. Jiang Tian waved his hand indifferently and said, "In our family, mistress is the most important. Whatever she says goes. If she says you don't need to kneel, then you don't need to kneel." "Yes, mistress. I understand." Shin Mange was speechless. She secretly despised him. "You are so arrogant outside, but I didn't expect that you are also a henpecked husband at home." She was letting her imagination run wild. Suddenly, Jiang Tian pointed at her and said, "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and cook." Yes. I'll go now." Shin Mange wanted to cry but had no tears. She quickly went into the kitchen and got busy. "Jiang Tian, you should be more polite to her. A maid is also a person." Zhao Xueqing rebuked Jiang Tian and followed him in. She whispered, "No, let me do it. I learned 2 new dishes." Okay. I'll help you pick the vegetables." Seeing this, Shen Mange didn't dare to steal the limelight. She quickly gave up the position of the chef and just helped. After a while, the two girls worked together to cook the dishes. When the dishes were served, Jiang Tian and Zhao Xueqing chatted while eating. Mange, your cooking skills are too bad. Jiang Tian took a bite of the steamed base. His face was as cold as frost. He reprimanded her with cold eyes, it's simply unappetizing. With your standard, you won't be able to get married. In the future, you will have to go to New Oriental to study. Shen Mange smiled awkwardly and didn't dare to defend herself. Zhao Xueqing's face darkened. She pouted and said, Jiang Tian, these dishes were all cooked by me. Sister Mange only helped me pick the vegetables, wash them, and cut them. Oh, is that so? Jiang Tian was thinking about the array before, so he didn't pay attention to this. When he heard this, he suddenly realized that he had made a mistake. He was so scared that his face turned pale. He quickly smiled and said, I'm talking about your knife skills. Well, your knife skills are too bad. You stir-fried it well, very well. It's salty and light, and the heat control is subtle. You're almost as good as a 5-star Michelin chef. Zhao Xueqing pulled a long face and didn't say anything. It was unknown whether she was dissatisfied with Jiang Tian's comments or worried about her cooking skills. Delicious. Delicious. Jiang Tian took big bites of the food and proved his conclusion with practical actions. He said pitifully, Qing'er, don't be angry. I'll wash the dishes later, okay? Ha, great demon king, I didn't expect you to have such a day. Shen Mange held back her laughter and gloated. Jiang Tian quickly changed the topic and talked about what he had seen and heard these days. He bragged and exaggerated as much as he could. Finally, Zhao Xueqing became concerned and asked questions from time to time. After dinner, Zhao Xueqing wanted to tidy up Shen Mange's room. Jiang Tian waved his hand and said, how can she stay here? She's disturbing our private time. Let her go to King's #1 mansion. After Ghost Kick took Shen Mange away, Zhao Xueqing laughed and said, can you bear to let such a beauty go? Can't she stay and be your servant to warm your feet? Cough, cough. Jiang Tian, who was drinking tea, was so shocked that he spat out a mouthful of water. He almost choked to death. His face turned red as he waved his hand and said, Xueqing, what are you talking about? What beauty! In my eyes, she's not even comparable to a strand of your hair. White ape demonic core, ice crystal, heptagold iron essence, green wood divine cauldron. He only lacked the earth element. However, Jiang Tian understood the principle of working on two fronts at the same time. Naturally, he wouldn't give up looking for the earth element materials. However, he also had to start looking for some supplementary materials. The next day, Jiang Tian summoned Tang Wanyan, Yi Gufeng, Dragon Fifth, Xuemingyi, and the other tycoons of Jiang Bei to the Crouching Dragon Villa. He asked them to gather some supplementary materials. Thousand Silk Attraction, Yama Vines, Gloomy Wood, Mystic Earth, 5-colored Buddha Clay, Chalcedony. Jiang Tian made a long list. It would cost at least 200 to 300 million to gather all of these materials, not to mention the manpower and the information cost. Master Kong, don't worry. We will turn Huaxia upside down. If we find nothing, we will bring our heads to you. Tang Wanyan slapped his chest and swore. He couldn't help but think of Elder Tang's evaluation of Jiang Tian. Yesterday, Tang Linglong returned to the Tang family and reported everything that happened during Jiang Tian's trip to Shenong School. After listening to the report, Elder Tang was stunned. He pondered for a long time and finally said something shocking. Master Kong is a cultivator of both martial arts and Dharma spells. He has made rapid progress. He can even beat Shenong School. In 10 years, Master Kong will be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with Yi Zhantian of the Huaxialong formation. Thinking of his father's words, Tang Wanyan felt as if he had been injected with chicken blood. If Master Kong could stand shoulder to shoulder with Yi Zhantian, then as his lackey, he would be able to soar to the sky. As the saying goes, when a man achieves the Tao, even his chickens and dogs will ascend to the sky. If Master Kong achieves the Tao, then I will be the lackey. The other tycoons also agreed to meet Jiang Tian's request even if they had to spend all their wealth. This time, you have a great chance. Jiang Tian sat in the armchair with his legs crossed. His face was calm and relaxed. These materials are not as rare as the 5 elements. I should be able to find them. As he spoke, he sighed and smiled wryly. It's just that the earth element material is hard to come by. The material must be able to trigger the aura of the earth veins thousands of miles away. It must be Xianhuang thick earth. At this time, the feng shui Master Qi was suddenly stunned, then he stood up and said excitedly, Master Jiang, I've heard of a magic weapon called the mysterious yellow clay jar. Where did you hear of it? What does it look like? Jiang Tian was a little interested and asked indifferently. Master Qi quickly bowed and said, Master Kong, I am actually a disciple of Su Mazhai, the great feng shui master of Hong Kong. According to seniority, I am his disciple's grandson. Oh, I didn't expect you to have such a big background. Jiang Tian smiled faintly. I wouldn't dare. I've embarrassed myself in front of Grandmaster Jiang. Master Qi hurriedly said. 10 years ago, when Hong Kong returned to China, the Wei family of Yang Cheng and several other major families of Hong Kong were fighting over several major ports and shipping routes in Hong Kong. Both sides were in a fierce fight and suffered heavy casualties. Later, Hong Kong asked Su Mazhai to cast a spell to suppress the Wei family. Later, Wei Shuofeng fought with Su Mazhai on the peak of Jiulong Mountain for 3 days. Master Qi's face was filled with shock and fascination. He could not forget the battle that day. That battle caused the Jiulong Mountain to crumble and the earth to crack. The sound of the battle shook the central ring 10 miles away. A hurricane blew and thunder fell from the sky. The entire Hong Kong was shaken. After 3 days of battle, the two of them were evenly matched. There was no clear winner. Instead, they appreciated each other. At the last moment, Su Mazhai used the finger array's most powerful finger combo technique, while Wei Shuofeng took out the mystic yellow clay jar, stirring up the mystic yellow earth qi within dozens of kilometers of Nine Dragon Mountain. The mountain range rose and fell like an earth dragon. The black-yellow earth qi formed a 10-meter-long earth qi azure dragon. It rushed down and broke Su Mazhai's 10-finger combo kill. After that battle, Su Mazhai spat out a mouthful of blood. I don't know how serious his injury was, but he started to cultivate in seclusion on Lantau Island. He hasn't shown up since 10 years ago. But after the battle, Su Mazhai once commented that Wei Shuofeng was the best in the world when it came to earth element attacks. Hearing this, Jiang Tian was a little tempted. He asked lightly, do you have any photos or videos? The Hong Kong police station strictly forbade any photos or videos. However, a reporter used a high-powered SLR camera to take a picture, but it was a bit blurry. Master Qi hurriedly presented a photo. Is this an immortal? Everyone gathered behind Jiang Tian and poked their heads out to take a look. They were instantly shocked. On the peak of Jiulong Mountain, a blurry figure stood 100 meters high in the air, holding something in his hand. Between the sky and the earth, there was a bleak yellow color. The Xianhuang earth qi formed a giant dragon, emitting rays of golden light as it circled behind the figure. Jiang Tian's eyes lit up, and then he let out a long sigh. Alas, to be able to draw upon Xianhuang earth energy, this should be the jar that I need. Chapter 115. Everyone looked at each other and remained silent for a long time. Why are you hesitating? You don't want to spend money? Tang Wanyan slapped his thigh and said, since it's in the hands of the Wei family, we will buy it for Master Kong no matter how much it costs. Yi Gufeng rolled his eyes at him and said, idiot. The Wei family is a century-old family. They are even richer than you and me. Do you think they lack money? Master Feng is right. Master Qi nodded and said, moreover, this jar is a family heirloom of the Wei family. It has been with Wei Shuofeng for decades. I'm afraid that it has become his natal dermic artifact. He will never sell it. What is a natal dermic artifact? Everyone was confused. A natal dermic artifact is a dermic artifact that has been refined with a secret method and formed a blood connection with its owner. Master Qi said, this way, the dermic artifact and its owner are connected as if it has a spirit. Once activated, the dermic artifact will act like an extension of the body. But at the same time, there is a huge drawback. What is it? Everyone asked. Master Qi said seriously, once the owner loses the dermic artifact, his body and lifespan will be damaged. In short, if one loses, all loses. Under such circumstances, why would the Wei clan sell the jar to us? Everyone came to a realization. Then we will take it. Zhou Zhenghao slammed the table and said evilly, I will go overseas and find a few assassins and mercenaries. Bang! 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 We will destroy the Wei family. I told you that the Wei family has a strong foundation of spells and even ethereal enlightenment experts. You are courting death. Dragon Fifth rolled his eyes at him and almost scolded him for being brainless. Zhou Zhenghao was anxious. He pulled his hair and said, what should we do? We can't buy it and we can't beat them. Alright, the meeting is over. Let's end it here. Jiang Tian waved his hand and walked out of the door. You only need to do one thing. Investigate all the core members of the Wei family and give it to me. He looked up at the starry sky, and the corners of his mouth curved into a mocking smile. His eyes were deep, and no one knew what he was thinking. Ever since Zhao Xueqing became the chairman of the Zhao Pharmaceutical Company, she had cut off all the products in the past month. According to Jiang Tian's design, she had built 3 new production lines and focused on making the muscle-nourishing ointment. As soon as this medicine was introduced to the market, it swept through the entire market like a hurricane. The price was not considered expensive, but the efficacy was amazing. Any skin lesions such as poisonous sores, ulcers, stubborn spots, and so on, as long as the ointment was applied, after a course of treatment, the skin would be completely healed, as if it had been reborn. Chairman, there's another big order. Our production line can't keep up. Assistant Zhou Liwen walked into the office, panting. These days, orders were flying in like snowflakes, and the delivery time was a year later. The assets of the Zhao Pharmaceutical Company were also expanding rapidly. There were already more than 1 billion yuan in the account. Husband, let's expand the production line. After Zhou Liwen left, Zhao Xueqing glanced at Jiang Tian and couldn't hide her smile. In this 1 month, she had pushed the Zhao Pharmaceutical Company to a height that she had never dared to imagine before. Then again, she also knew that her management ability wasn't outstanding. In the end, it was because Jiang Tian's improved prescription was too magical. Zhao Xueqing had already adapted to her identity as the chairman. She wore a professional suit that accentuated her curves. The 8 blessings necklace that Jiang Tian gave her hung on her neck. It reflected a dazzling light that made her face glow, making her look even more radiant. She was capable and elegant. Her face was radiant, and she looked like a strong woman in the workplace. No need, Jiang Tian sat on the sofa and put down a Chinese medicine book. The Medicine King Group's products aren't selling well, and the production line might be idle. We'll use their production line. These days, when he was free, he would accompany Zhao Xueqing in the company and even participate in some business activities. In order to be legitimate, Jiang Tian had a nominal position as the chairman's assistant in the company. As for the real relationship between the two, it was still unknown. Okay, then I'll call Mom. Zhao Xueqing quickly dialed Zhang Wanqing's number. When the call was connected, Zhao Xueqing smiled. Mom, I have a product that's selling well, but the production line isn't enough. I want to use the Medicine King Group's production line. Which product? Zhang Wanqing asked in disbelief. To put it bluntly, the Zhao Pharmaceutical Company was half dead, and the production line could only be considered half operational. Since when did they need to expand the production line? The muscle-nourishing plaster. What? That product is selling well, and it's actually yours? Where did you get these secret recipes? Jiang Tian made it. Zhao Xueqing was overjoyed. Mom, don't you know? Tisk, how can I not know his level in medicine? Zhang Wanqing didn't believe her at all. She smiled. Qing'er, don't flatter him. It's more like what you've researched. She checked the patent registration and smiled. Moreover, the patent holder is also in your name. Mom, it's really Jiang Tian's invention. He didn't want to show his face in public, so he had to register it under my name. Zhao Xueqing didn't know how to explain. Hearing this, Jiang Tian also looked helpless. It seemed that his mother still couldn't change her opinion of him. Well, let's not dwell on this issue. Zhang Wanqing smiled. My production line is also half operational. There's no problem at all if you use it for production. I will also strictly control the product quality. Thank you, Mom. The outsourcing fee will be calculated according to the market price. I'll pass the production process to you right away. Zhao Xueqing smiled sweetly. What are you thanking me for? In fact, you've solved Mom's urgent problem. Zhang Wanqing said. The two discussed some more details. Zhao Xueqing hung up the phone and hugged Jiang Tian. She smiled and said, Hubby, you're amazing. This product is simply earth-shattering. She deeply understood the value of Jiang Tian's prescription. A small Dianan Baiyao, whose effect was far inferior to the muscle-nourishing ointment, had a market value of tens of billions. 5 or 10 years later, if Zhao's pharmaceutical company was listed, it would probably be able to suppress Dianan Baiyao. This is nothing. There will be better prescriptions later. Jiang Tian smiled faintly. The muscle-nourishing ointment was just an unintentional improvement. He had been cultivating for thousands of years, and the elixir prescriptions in his hands were countless. The muscle-nourishing ointment was just a low-end prescription. If he really took out his trump card prescription, he was afraid that it would sweep Huaxia and shock the world. Even those pharmaceutical giants would have to admit that they were inferior. Hubby, you're simply amazing. Zhao Xueqing kissed Jiang Tian and smiled sweetly. Little girl, you actually took advantage of me. No, I have to pay you back. Jiang Tian hugged his wife as if she was a warm and fragrant jade. His heart was filled with satisfaction. You took advantage of me and yet you're still acting innocent. No, I won't let you kiss me. Chairman. At that moment, Zhou Liwen knocked on the door and entered. Zhao Xueqing quickly got up from Jiang Tian's embrace. Her face was flushed red as she asked, What's the matter? Zhou Liwen looked at Jiang Tian in surprise. Why did the chairman seem to be sitting in his embrace? Didn't this guy just resign from the public relations department and become Zhao Xueqing's assistant? Could it be that the chairman has a male pet? It was inappropriate for her to ask further. She quickly said, Chairman, CEO of Yuanyuan Pharmaceutical Company in Yangcheng wants to see you. He wants to invite you for dinner. Yuanyuan Pharmaceutical Company? Zhao Xueqing was stunned. Then, she quickly said, Okay, I'll agree to it. Put it on the agenda. A big deal is coming. This pharmaceutical company was famous in South China. They were located in Yangcheng and their products were spread across the country. Furthermore, they had over 100 branches across the country. If the Zhao family pharmaceutical company could form a partnership with Yuanyuan Pharmaceutical Company, their products would definitely be sold across the country. Just as Zhou Liwen left, a cheer came from outside. Secretary Tang is here. Welcome, Secretary Tang. Which Secretary Tang? Zhao Xueqing was stunned when she heard the cheers. Jiang Tian faintly smiled. His expression was calm as he said, who else could it be? Tang Weiman. As he spoke, Tang Linglong had already skipped in. She smiled. Master, Sister Qing'er. What are you doing here instead of cultivating at home? Have you learnt the 13 Taishian swords that I taught you previously? Jiang Tian rolled his eyes. This sword technique was taught to her by Jiang Tian on the way back from Shinong school. He had ordered her not to go out for a year and to practice diligently. Didn't I miss you, Master's wife? Tang Linglong looked sad. She shook Zhao Xueqing's hand and said, Master's wife, look, he's being mean to me again. Ignore him. Zhao Xueqing smiled gently. But don't blame your master. A strict master produces a fine disciple. Of course. This sword technique is really powerful. I fought against my grandfather a few days ago and he was defeated by me. Tang Linglong said proudly. Are you satisfied after defeating Elder Tang? Jiang Tian laughed involuntarily and shook his head lightly. This girl didn't know how powerful the 13 Taishian swords were. This sword technique was created by him and his old friend, the Taishian celestial master in the continent of the 9 clouds. It was known for its powerful attacks. Back in the days, Taishian the celestial master used to be a humble woodcutter. He relied on that sword skill to start his career. He defeated 13 extremely strong sword sects in a row. He shook the entire continent of the 9 clouds. In the end, he accepted the mandate of heaven and became a celestial emperor. It could be said that in all of Huaxia, even Shu Mountain and Wu Dang who were famous for their swordsmanship, no one could defeat this sword technique. While they were talking, Tang Weiman came in with Secretary Kai and the others. Congratulations, Madam Jiang. This skin-nourishing ointment is famous all over the country. Welcome, Secretary Tang. Our achievements are inseparable from the support of the municipal government. Zhao Xueqing stepped forward and shook hands with Tang Weiman with a joyful expression. She wasn't being polite. Zhao Pharmaceuticals' new production line cost 100 million. Zhao Pharmaceuticals' pitiful cash flow couldn't be leveraged. It was Tang Weiman who personally called the City Investment Group and took out a 100 million interest-free loan to acquire the first pharmaceutical factory, a state-owned enterprise in the city. In addition, the municipal government gave them the green light to collect taxes and industrial land. A prescription personally improved by Grandmaster Jiang. What kind of heaven-defying existence is that? It's our responsibility to do this for the benefit of the people. Tang Weiman didn't dare to be arrogant. He quickly saluted Jiang Tian and said humbly. Jiang Tian just smiled indifferently. Both sides exchanged greetings for a while. Tang Weiman dismissed his servants and said with a smile, Master Kong, this time I came with a big order for you. How big is the order? Jiang Tian smiled. 2 billion. Tang Weiman smiled. Chapter 116. Hearing that, Zhao Xueqing was shocked. What kind of company was able to get such a big order in one go? Jiang Tian had long since figured it out, haha, it must be the military's order. Only the military could handle such a large order. Moreover, the muscle-nourishing ointment was used to treat external injuries. In modern society, only the military's soldiers would suffer from external injuries during their daily training. Master Kang's foresight is divine. Tang Weiman smiled, this is the Empress's order. First, it will be tested in Lingnan Military District. If the results are satisfactory, it will be distributed to the entire army. Distributed to the entire army. Zhao Xueqing was so excited that her face turned red, making her look even more charming than usual. She was so beautiful that it could move one's soul. She was overjoyed. If all 6 military districts bought it, it would be 5 to 6 times more. That was a 10 billion order. Secretary Tang, the Tang clan must have put in a lot of effort. Thank you for your hard work. Jiang Tian, on the other hand, was very relaxed. He took a sip of tea in satisfaction and nodded in praise. The only one who could speak to the Empress in Lin province was the head of the Tang clan, Tang Hongtu, in the General Staff Department. As for Lingnan Military District, it was most likely Fierce Tiger's head instructor, Elder Tang. He shook his head inside. The Tang clan went to such lengths to invite him to instruct Zhan Hu. It wouldn't be easy for him to refuse. Sigh, Master Kong has given the Tang clan a new lease on life. What can we do for him? Tang Weimin said politely. The matter was quickly settled. On the second day, Zhao Xueqing represented the corporation and the Empress to finalize the agreement. A big deal that made others endlessly envious was easily accomplished just like that. On this day, Yang City's Yuanyuan Pharmaceutical Company sent a representative to Lin Province to negotiate with Zhao Xueqing. The meeting was held at a 5-star hotel. At night, Jiang Tian accompanied Zhao Xueqing. Yuanyuan Pharmaceutical Company sent a vice president, Ji Zhuofan, a third-generation member of the Ji clan. Is this Chairman Zhao? Welcome, welcome. Ji Zhuofan was in his late 20s, handsome and tall. His shirt was white and his pants were as sharp as blades. This person was young and promising. Moreover, he was refined and courteous. With a single glance, one could tell that he was from a large family. As a matter of fact, Ji Zhuofan was among the top 20 young masters in Yangcheng and held a high position in Yuanyuan Pharmaceuticals. He must be cultivating some kind of secret spiritual technique. Jiang Tian also found that he was exuding a strange charm. No, it should be said that he had a very seductive aura. This aura was very similar to that of the nine-tailed demon fox, the leader of the fox charm sect that Jiang Tian had met in the cultivation world. However, there was a huge difference in strength. Zhao Xueqing. This is my husband and also my assistant. Zhao Xueqing introduced herself and politely shook hands with the man. I didn't expect Chairman Zhao to be so beautiful. Ji Zhuofan saw Zhao Xueqing and was startled. His heart was on fire as he praised her. In his heart, he thought, how could a small place like Linzhou always produce beauties? He originally thought that Zhou Xianya was already a peerless beauty, but he didn't expect that when compared to Zhao Xueqing, she would immediately pale in comparison to a yellow-haired maid. He glanced at Jiang Tian but didn't take it to heart. Zhou Xianya said he's a martial arts expert, stronger than Li Zhenwei. That means he's a peak internal strength grandmaster, right? Even if he was a transcendent master, he was still inferior to a cultivator who could attack without form. Jiang Tian, Zhao Xueqing, we meet again. What surprised Jiang Tian was that Zhou Xianya was also there. She was close to Ji Zhuofan, looking like his girlfriend. Before this, the Zhou family had offended Jiang Tian time and time again. According to Dragon Fifth and the others' intentions, they should just directly wipe out the Zhou family, but Jiang Tian stopped them. After Jiang Tian and his wife reconciled, he became more compassionate. They were only disrespectful and didn't need to be so ruthless. Later on, he heard that the Zhou clan also felt uneasy. After all, they had offended Jiang Tian, so how could they continue living in Linzhou City? Thus, they sold their national medicine pharmacy to a company in Yang City and moved their entire family to Yang City. Now it seemed the Zhou clan sold their national medicine pharmacy to Yuanyuan, or exchanged their shares. And in the process, she developed feelings for Ji Zhuofan. Back in Linzhou, Zhou Xianya was like a mouse before a cat when she saw Jiang Tian. But now, with Ji Zhua by her side, she seemed to have regained her confidence, her eyes lofty and arrogant. You think you're all that just because you have the Ji clan behind you? You're so short-sighted. Jiang Tian shook his head with a disdainful smile. His heart was filled with disdain. He didn't even look at her and directly sat down. Humph, Jiang Tian, you're still as arrogant as ever. Do you think the Ji clan is just a simple medical clan? The Ji and Wei clans are close. Ji Zhuofan was taught by Wei Shuofeng, and even Li Jinwei is afraid of him. You're all that you can do in a small place like Linzhou. How can you compare to Ji Zhuofan? Seeing this, Zhou Xianya also felt a great sense of defeat. She was so angry that her full chest heaved up and down as she secretly stomped her feet. Chairman Zhao is too polite. Zhao Xueqing replied politely at Jiang Tian's praise and sat next to him. The banquet began with food and wine, and everyone ate and chatted. The other party brought a business manager and introduced Zhao Xueqing to Yuanyuan Pharmaceuticals. From start to finish, Jiang Tian didn't say a word as he ate. Sometimes he would pour tea for Zhao Xueqing, serve her food, give her napkins, and drink for her. Many in the pharmaceutical industry sighed and shook their heads in disdain. Some thought Jiang Tian was a henpecked husband, a pet boy. Some of them were certain that Jiang Tian was useless and didn't know anything. That was why they were so humble. Some felt that it was not worth it for Zhao Xueqing. She was such a talented and beautiful female CEO, yet she was married to a useless man. One had to know that the norm of marriage in China was that the man would marry the weak and the woman would marry the strong. After 3 rounds of wine and 5 dishes, Ji Zhuofan raised his cup. Chairman Zhao, there's no need for introductions. I've long heard of the muscle-nourishing ointment. I'll be frank, I'm here tonight to discuss a partnership with you. Chairman Ji, what kind of partnership do you have in mind? Zhao Xueqing sipped her tea. Yuanyuan and Zhao clan will share the patent. Zhao clan will get 50% of the profits from each product. Ji Zhuofan smiled. No. Zhao Xueqing shook her head, but her tone was firm. I won't divulge the recipe or process to you. Chairman Zhao, don't be in such a hurry to refuse. Ji Zhuofan was calm and confident. Yuanyuan Pharmaceuticals has pharmacies in 70 large and medium-sized cities across the country, each with at least 1 branch. Yuanyuan Pharmaceuticals is worth 10 billion and the Ji clan is one of Yang City's 10 great clans. One of my uncles is the provincial health department's director. My clan can call the wind and summon the rain. Your company's medicine is very effective. With the addition of Yuanyuan Pharmaceuticals' sales system, you'll be like a tiger with wings. 10 billion a year in sales, even 5 to 6 billion in profit will be within reach. Before Zhao Xueqing could speak, Jiang Tian spoke. Ji Zhuofan, don't you get it? There is only one muscle-nourishing ointment, but there are at least 10 pharmacies nationwide. Without you, I can still sell it all over the country. Ji Zhuofan looked at Jiang Tian with a bitter smile. Then I'll take a step back. We'll share the patent and I'll give you 80% of the profits. I won't let you know the recipe. Jiang Tian picked his teeth with a toothpick. Otherwise, there's no need to talk. Jiang Tian, I know you have some fame in Lin province, but I advise you not to be arrogant. How can Lin province's elites compare to my Ji clan? Ji Zhuofan snorted. If I want to know the recipe, who can hide it from me? As he spoke, he suddenly turned his head and stared at Zhao Xueqing. His pupils spun strangely and a black light shone brightly. The black light in his eyes was like a whirlpool, full of strange temptation, making people have the urge to sink into it and be unable to extricate themselves. Master is so charming. Next to him, Zhou Xianya was in a daze. Her eyes were empty, as if her soul was swallowed by the black light. Humph, with your insignificant cultivation, you dare to show off your magic in front of me? Jiang Tian's face darkened as he snorted in disdain. The black light in Ji Zhuofan's eyes was the evil wheel eye art, a type of mental attack. In the early stages, it could see through objects, in the middle stages it could control souls, and at its peak it could even destroy the enemy's soul. Ji Zhuofan had no talent in medicine, but when he was 8, Wei Xiaofeng saw his talent in eye arts and took him in as a disciple. The whole Ji clan was overjoyed. By the time he was 20, his cultivation method had reached the great success stage and his power was on par with Yang Guochang, a Dao initiation stage cultivator. After Ji Zhuofan joined Yuanyuan Pharmaceuticals, he was a vice president on the surface, but in reality, he was in charge of the business intelligence team. He relied on the evil will I art's powerful mental power to hypnotize and enslave people. Spying on trade secrets and even obtaining core formulas were as easy as pie for him. He was always successful and invincible. Humph, so what if Jiang Tian is a martial expert? Do you think you can keep the formula? Ji Zhuofan snorted and the black light in his eyes shot towards Xiao Xueqing's mind like an arrow, trying to grab her memories. With this evil spell alone, he had taken control of countless wealthy families and enslaved countless young ladies and actresses. You're dead. Just as the black light was about to invade Xiao Xueqing's mind, Jiang Tian let out a low shout. A golden light shot out from Jiang Tian's forehead like a bolt of lightning and hit the black light. Jiang Tian's soul was condensed from the god-transforming pill. It was as fast as lightning, fierce and indestructible. How could Ji Zhuo's meager mental power stand a chance against it? Like ice meeting fire, or butter meeting a sharp blade, Ji Zhuofan's mental power was crushed by Jiang Tian. Crack! The sound of sparks flashing could be heard in the air. Ji Zhuofan's head felt like it was hit by a sledgehammer. His body trembled and fell on his back. In an instant, blood flowed out of his 7 orifices, and his face was ghastly pale. He really looked like a demon that had crawled out from hell. Chapter 117. Zhuofan, what's wrong? Zhou Xianya paled and rushed to help Ji Zhuo up. You can actually break my evil will pupil technique. Ji Zhuofan was either scared out of his wits or his psyche was shaken. He stared at Jiang Tian in disbelief. The battle of psyche was far more dangerous than martial arts. Once the secret art was broken, the psyche would devour the user, destroying their soul and turning them into mere mortals. Ji Zhuofan's psyche was crushed by Jiang Tian and his magical art was rendered useless. If not for Jiang Tian's concern for Xiao Xueqing's safety, Ji Zhuofan would have lost his mind or died. Ha! What bullshit evil will I art? What's so great about it? Trash! Jiang Tian's face was calm as he sipped his tea. If I wanted to kill you, my head would have exploded by now. Why, you're crazy. Ji Zhuofan gnashed his teeth, but he had to admit he had the right to be arrogant. Don't bother me. You don't have the right to talk to me. Even your family's patriarch isn't qualified. Jiang Tianyi said calmly. If you want to talk, tell your master Wei Shuofeng. I'll show this piece of trash what a true magical art is. With that, Jiang Tian pulled Xiao Xueqing away under everyone's shocked gazes. In terms of martial arts, he didn't dare say he was invincible against Huaxia. After all, he had yet to face a veteran grandmaster or a god realm expert. But in terms of magical arts, he had been cultivating for tens of thousands of years. With countless secret arts and curses under his belt, he had absolute confidence in himself. He didn't fear an ant like Ji Zhuofan. If he dared cause trouble again, he'd just kill him. As for Wei Shuofeng, Jiang Tian was even looking forward to it. Come at me, I want to take your treasure. He actually broke my eye technique and destroyed my divine soul. A few minutes after Jiang Tian left, Ji Zhuofan was still sitting on the ground, his hair disheveled, his face covered in sweat and blood, muttering to himself like a madman. Since his debut, he had never failed. But today, he was crushed by Jiang Tian. He could not accept this cruel reality. Zhuofan, are you all right? Don't be sad. Zhou Xianya had no idea what was going on as she wiped the blood on Ji Zhuo's face with a wet towel. I'm fine. It's too big. Ji Zhuofan was inconsolable, unable to do anything to Jiang Tian. He could only vent his anger on Zhou Xianya. Pa! He slapped Zhou Xianya in the face, causing her to fall to the ground. Blood flowed from the corner of her mouth, and a few clear handprints appeared on her beautiful face. Zhuo Fan, why did you hit me? Zhou Xianya asked in disbelief. Her head was dizzy from the beating. Covering her burning face, she was stunned and aggrieved. You killed me. You got the wrong information. Jiang Tian isn't just a martial arts expert. He cultivates both magic and martial arts. He hated Zhou Xianya to the bone. As he cursed, he kicked Zhou Xianya's plump chest and soft belly. And you said he was a lunatic, easy to bully and easy to deal with. You killed me. If not for you, would I have gone after them? You jinx. Ji Zhuofan's kicks left Zhou Xianya rolling on the ground, howling like a bitch. She even vomited everything she ate and her face was covered in tears and snot. I really don't know, what's a magical art? Zhou Xianya was covered in wounds, wailing in grief. Ji Zhuofan was sweating and panting, leaning against the wall. Jiang Tian, you broke my secret art. No matter what, I won't let you go. His eyes were filled with hatred. Zhou Xianya, the jinx, was despicable, but the culprit who ruined his secret art was Jiang Tian. I will definitely ask Master to come out of the mountain and tear this brat into 1,000 pieces. He roared with a ferocious expression. When Ji Zhuofan's secret art's effects faded, Zhou Xianya felt like a bucket of cold water had been poured over her and she shuddered. She looked at Ji Zhuofan and found his charm to be gone. In fact, he looked terrifying, making her heart beat faster. Strange, why was I so obsessed with him? Why did I sell the clan's business for 1/5 of the market price? Zhou Xianya screamed in her heart, filled with regret. Zhou Xianya was a social butterfly, skilled in dancing and dancing. She walked through a field of flowers without a single leaf falling on her. But this time, she didn't fall for Ji Zhuofan's charms. It made her shiver. That night, after coaxing Zhao Xueqing to sleep, Jiang Tian went to the roof and began his long-awaited cultivation. The trip to Shenong School was fruitful. Aside from the azure wood divine cauldron, which can be used as a spiritual gathering array's wood element, the most important thing is this demonic flame stone. Jiang Tian opened his palm and looked at the demonic flame stone that was shining with a strange light. He sighed in his heart. The demonic flame stone was a creation of heaven and earth. It contained a great amount of fire energy. If absorbed, it could be used in conjunction with Jiang Tian's fire cultivation method to create a demonic flame qi weapon, increasing its power tenfold. This demonic flame stone's energy would explode. If a normal person was hit by its radiation, they would die within days. That was why it was kept in a box made of lead. Even a cultivator wouldn't be able to withstand the violent energy if they used a normal cultivation method. In case of a backlash, they would lose their cultivation and even explode. But Jiang Tian cultivated the primal chaos creation art created by Ancestor Crocodile, so there was no problem. One had to know that Ancestor Crocodile was the #1 Tao Tai in the cultivation world. It was said that there was nothing it couldn't eat and nothing it couldn't refine. He once made a bet with Jiang Tian. This guy actually swallowed a star the size of a sun. Not only did he come out of it unscathed, his cultivation even increased, causing Jiang Tian to lose an entire star field to him. Refine. Shaking his head, Jiang Tian shook his head and roared in his mind. The primal chaos creation art began to run like crazy. In an instant, Jiang Tian's qi si became deep and empty, as if it had opened up a new space that could swallow anything. Qi. Qi. The fire energy contained within the demonic flame stone instantly formed a crimson-red cyclone, crazily pouring into Jiang Tian's qi si. Cultivation knew no time. In the blink of an eye, 8 days passed. Crack. With a soft sound, the demonic flame stone's energy was exhausted and turned into a pile of grayish-white debris. There's an additional fire energy in my qi si. My cultivation has also increased to qi refining stage 3. I wonder if I can successfully use the demonic flame qi soldier. Jiang Tian sighed softly and twisted his fingers. The air suddenly became restless and a small blue flame appeared at his fingertips. Nodding in satisfaction, Jiang Tian waved his fingers. Qi! A flaming qi weapon shot out wildly. The instant it chopped down a huge tree in the courtyard, it burned it to dust. Not bad, not bad. The demonic flame qi soldier is finally done. Jiang Tian nodded in satisfaction, his eyes filled with excitement. In the cultivation world, flames were divided into many types, such as gentle flame, martial flame, yin flame, yang flame, and so on. Gentle flame was used to refine pills and heal injuries, while martial flame was used to kill enemies. And demonic flame qi soldier was at least in the top 20 of the martial flame in the cultivation world. With a temperature of 10,000 degrees, it could burn everything and nothing could survive. Ordinary flames would have to retreat if they encountered it. The key was that this energy had already fused with Jiang Tian, and it was different from relying on external items like fireball talismans to release fire attacks. It could be released instantly, and it could be used at will. It also had the advantage of time. Time flew by, and Jiang Tian had been back from Shenong school for a month. In the past month, under the efforts of the Jiang Bei elites, the materials needed for the spirit gathering array had been shipped to him. Jiang Tian summoned Shen Mange, Feng Shui Master Qi, and the others. According to the method he taught them, they set up the foundation of the spirit gathering array in the No. 1 King Villa. Now, everything was ready. All he needed to do was to insert the Xianhuang clay pot into the base to activate the spirit gathering array. At the same time, Jiang Tian made a lot of Dharma artifacts and talisman charms in case he needed them. That night, someone sent an invitation to the king's mansion. The banquet of bliss hosted by the Wei family of Yang Cheng was about to begin, and Jiang Tian and his wife were invited to attend. The invitation was signed with 3 words, Wei Shuofeng. Ha, they don't come with good intentions. Jiang Tian leisurely thought. Wei Shuofeng, what do you want? Revenge for your disciple, Ji Zhuofan? Or do you want to get your hands on Jiang Bei? Or have you heard of me and coveted my cultivation resources? Regardless, I'm worried you won't make a move. Once you do, the Xianhuang clay pot will be mine. August 13, 2007. The Southern Sect's No. 1 magical practitioner, Wei Shuofeng, sent an invitation to the Banquet of Bliss. The Banquet of Bliss is held by the Wei, Tang, Tai, Bai, and other great clans of Yangcheng. In the chairman's office, Zhao Xueqing spoke. Once the banquet begins, the elites of Jiangnan's 7 great cities will attend. They will pay homage to Wei Shuofeng and present him with gifts. Not only that, but even the great clans close to the Wei family will attend. The market of Jiangnan's 7 cities is bigger than Jiangbei. We can't lose this market, but Jiangnan's medicine market is controlled by the Ji and Wei clans. We've offended the Ji clan. I'm afraid. What are you afraid of with me here? If we don't go, won't they think we're cowards? Jiang Tian smiled, don't worry. One day, Zhao Pharmacy's name will shake the world and you will become the world's richest woman. And Yangcheng will be our first battlefield. Such simple words, coming from Jiang Tian's mouth, were full of pride and arrogance. As long as you're with me, I'm not afraid of anything. I will push the market to Jiangnan. Seeing Jiang Tian's confidence, Zhao Xueqing's eyes flashed with determination. Grandmaster Jiang, please come quickly. The Crouching Dragon Villa is about to start fighting. Tang Linglong called and shouted anxiously. Jiang Tian rushed to Crouching Dragon Villa and found the elites of Jiangbei holding an emergency meeting. The atmosphere was tense. Chapter 118. Master Kong. Master Kong is here. Everyone stood up and bowed respectfully at Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian waved his hand and signaled them to continue the meeting. It seems like everyone has received the invitation. Yi Gufeng scanned the crowd and asked. Yes. Everyone nodded. Can't you see? Wei Xiaofeng wants to take over Jiang Bei in one fell swoop. Yi Gufeng shook his head with a wry smile. I don't care. Wei Xiaofeng made Crouching Dragon Villa lose a few $100 million. How can I forgive him? Tang Wanyan said angrily. What makes you think you can fight with him? Wei Xiaofeng is a spellcaster. Who can defeat him? Yi Gufeng shrugged helplessly. We have Master Kong. Zhou Zhenghao rubbed his hands together and said, if Master Kong attacks, they will all be defeated. Don't you have faith in Master Kong? Little Zhou, don't you try to sow discord. Yi Gufeng slammed the table and said, I'm not saying that Master Kong is not good enough. I think that Jiang Bei has just been established. We haven't even finished the internal process yet. We shouldn't rush things. Jiang Tian understood what was going on. It seemed like the elites of Lin Zhou wanted to fight while Yi Gufeng wanted to avoid the brunt of the attack. Both sides had different opinions. Zhen Guangxia, who was the oldest among them, smiled and said, everyone, stop arguing. Let's listen to Master Kang's opinion. Everyone looked at Jiang Tian and waited for him to make a decision. Jiang Tian took a sip of tea and said, if he wants to fight, then let's fight. How can we let someone else sleep next to us? If Wei Xiaofeng wants to kill us, we won't be able to escape from the banquet of bliss. That's right. Let's fight them. We have Master Kong. What are we afraid of? Zhou Zhenghao rolled up his sleeves and said excitedly. Dragon 5th, 3rd Master Tang, and Zhen Guangxia all nodded in agreement. Lu Zikuan had the same personality as Zhou Zhenghao. They both liked to flaunt their bravery and ruthlessness. He moved closer to Yi Gufeng's ear and said, Master Feng, Master Kong is right. Master Feng, have you forgotten? 5 years ago, he sent a disciple to curse you to death. We had to sacrifice 3 of our Gale Navy's men before we were able to escape from that calamity. Of course I won't forget. How could Yi Gufeng not want to eliminate the Wei clan? However, he did not think that they had a 100% chance of winning this battle. His face was full of worry as he said, in my opinion, the Wei family, Jiang Nansbai family, Tang family, Mo family, Tai family, and other powerful families will all participate in the banquet of bliss. There might even be powerful people from other provinces or Beijing and Zhonghai. Don't worry, Mr. Yi. Jiang Tian took a sip of tea and said calmly, this time, I will personally lead the team to participate in the banquet of bliss. Since the two sides are like fire and water, the battle with the Wei clan will happen sooner or later. Whoever dares to stop this battle will be killed without mercy. Master Feng, Master Kong was able to escape unscathed from Shinong School. Why would he be afraid of the Wei clan? Duke Qiu also advised. Hearing this, Yi Gufeng was slightly relieved. After pondering for a long time, he suddenly slammed the table and said angrily, fine, then we will gather at the banquet of bliss. I want to see what kind of tricks the Wei clan can play. At this time, Jiang Tian opened his mouth and said, when the time comes, you don't have to support me or endorse me. I can defeat all the powerful families in Jiangnan by myself. Only Ghost Kick and Shen Mange will follow me and Xueqing closely. Jiang Tian's expression was calm, but his tone was resolute and decisive, making the final decision. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. This was Master Kang's monstrous spirit. He could defeat all the powerful warriors in the 7 cities of Jiangnan by himself. Then, everyone bowed deeply, clasped their hands and prayed in unison, may Master Kong win the battle and return with honor. Since the Wei clan is going to make a move, then we will not fight an unprepared battle. Jiang Tian nodded slightly and handed over dozens of bracelets. This is the 8 blessing bracelet. Each member of the Jiangbei Chamber of Commerce will get one. Oh, isn't this the bracelet that Madame Zhao found before? Tang Wanyan was like a greedy cat. He was almost drooling as he hurriedly put it on his wrist. The moment he put on the bracelet, Tang Wanyan suddenly exclaimed, that's strange. My headache seems to have subsided a lot. Tang Wanyan was also very depressed after the series of incidents at Crouching Dragon Villa. He couldn't sleep at night. His head hurt like needles and he even lost a lot of hair. The doctor said that it was a nervous headache. He had taken a lot of medicine, but it didn't work. My old injury also doesn't hurt anymore. Zhou Zhenghao touched the scar on his chest and said in surprise, "What happened?" 10 years ago, when he was still a gangster on the street, he was stabbed in the chest by an enemy. The wound left him with a dull pain from time to time. But now, the pain was gone. Master Kong, this is a Dharma artifact. Zheng Guangxia exclaimed as he played with the bracelet. He had a problem with his legs. In his early years, he used to dig holes in construction sites and soak his legs in ice water in the winter. But now, he felt that the discomfort in his legs had completely disappeared. Master Kong, what is this? After I put it on, I feel that my head is clear and my eyes are clear. My body is full of energy. Yi Gufeng's eyes were filled with surprise. It is a Dharma artifact. Jiang Tian's face was calm. He took a sip of tea and said, "There is a small qi gathering array carved on each piece of jade. It can guide the overflowing qi of heaven and earth into your body. If you wear it for a long time, your body will be strong, your illness will be cured, and you may even live a long life." What? So miraculous. Everyone cried out in surprise, looking at Jiang Tian with feverish eyes. "Thank you, Master Kong, for giving us this treasure." Zheng Guangxia was even more grateful and bowed deeply. He was old and knew the value of life. He also knew the value of this bracelet. It could prolong one's life, which could not be bought with any amount of money. It could be said that the support he had given to Jiang Tian before this allowed him to obtain this bracelet, with interest. Ancient masters of sorcery would choose to live in a blessed place where they could be nourished by qi for a long time. Not only could they live a long life, but they could also become immortals. Feng Shui Master Qi also got a jade pendant. He sighed as if he had gotten a treasure. Master Kang's bracelet seems to put everyone in a small blessed place. That's right. Jiang Tian nodded. As soon as he said that, everyone's eyes became even more excited. They joked, "With Master Kang's gift, we are immediately treated like ancient immortals. No amount of money can buy this." Jiang Tian said slowly, "In addition, each jade stone is engraved with a protective jade talisman. It can block 1 shot from a gun. 8 jade stones can block 8 shots. Oh my god. Is it really that powerful?" No one would believe it. Tang Wanyan was so excited that he could not believe it. "Third brother, you don't believe it? Then give it a try." Jiang Tian suddenly smiled evilly. Hearing this, everyone retreated 3 steps back. They disregarded the code of brotherhood and distanced themselves from Third Master Tang. "I believe it. I believe it so much. Master Kong, it's better not to try it." Tang Wanyan was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. He hated himself for being so stupid. "Shoot him." Jiang Tian smiled at Zhou Zhenghao. "Third Master, you can't blame me. Master Kong ordered me to do so." Zhou Zhenghao let out a strange laugh, pulled out a pistol, and fired a shot at Tang Wanyan's chest. Bang! The gunshot startled Tang Wanyan. He screamed, "Oh my god!" But when he opened his eyes, he found that he was safe and sound. Only one of the jade stones on his wrist was broken. Amazing! This is a real magical item. Dragon Fifth picked up the severely deformed bullet on the ground. His eyes were filled with excitement. He was so excited that he slapped his thigh. Treasure! This is really a treasure. This is much better than any bodyguard. Everyone was in awe. They could not believe it. With the protection of the 8 blessings bracelet, no matter how powerful Wei Shuofeng is, what can he do to us? Even Yi Gufeng had become 100 times more confident. No, Master Kong, I've already broken one. You have to give me another one. I've already become your lab rat. You have to give me 2 more. Tang Wanyan was like a child begging for candy as he pulled on Jiang Tian's sleeves, unwilling to let go, causing everyone to burst into laughter. Suddenly, Zhou Zhenghao thought of a key question and asked, Master Kong, do you have any more of these jade bracelets? I can carve them with ordinary jade stones. These bracelets only take me half a day. Jiang Tian waved his hand and said, to put it bluntly, you can have as many as you want. Suddenly, Zhou Zhenghao rolled his eyes and asked with a smile, Grandmaster Jiang, how much would one of these bracelets cost if you could sell them? 1 million. Jiang Tian said. Everyone was stunned. Jiang Tian could make 30 to 40 of them a day. That would be 30 to 40 million a day, and 10 billion a year. 10 billion was almost a net profit. After all, these jade stones were not that precious. 1 million for a bracelet? That's too much. Would anyone buy it? Zhou Zhenghao was stunned. Even if it was 10 million, people would buy it. For people like us, is 10 million more important than our lives? Yi Gufeng sneered. Among the people present, he was the most famous and had the most enemies. He knew the preciousness of magical treasures. Now that Huaxia was full of powerful cultivators, what was the use of having so much money? They were still fish on the chopping board of various martial arts masters, assassins, and kidnappers. If he could get his hands on the 8 fortune bracelet, it would be equivalent to having a few more lives. It would also strengthen his body. Anyone with tens of millions would be willing to buy it. Jiang Tian nodded slightly. This is a big deal. Let's not do anything else but this. Tang Wanyan was so excited that he slapped his thigh. I won't sell it to the public for now. Those who join my sect are my friends. Only then are you qualified to wear the 8 fortune bracelet. Jiang Tian smiled faintly. After the meeting, Yi Gufeng called Jiang Tian to his car. He handed a cigarette to Jiang Tian and lit it for Jiang Tian. After that, he took a cigarette in his mouth and took a puff. After a long silence, Yi Gufeng exhaled a puff of smoke and said slowly, Jiang Tian, in front of everyone, you are Master Kong and I am your subordinate. But in your heart, you are Ziwei's brother and the man she loves deeply. Do you understand how I feel? Chapter 119. I understand. Jiang Tian sighed with a bitter smile. Yi Gufeng must be worried about him. As for the conflict between Jiang Nan and Jiang Bei, that was secondary. I don't ask you to be rich. I just want you to live in harmony and peace. Yi Gufeng's eyes were slightly red, and tears almost flowed down. I've worked hard all my life, even bearing the infamy of abandoning my wife, just so that you juniors can live a carefree life. You don't have to be like me, fighting to the death with others, and can't even have a good night's sleep. Don't worry, Mr. Yi. I won't let you down, and I won't make Sister Weiwei sad. To put it bluntly, I am confident that I will win. Jiang Tian smiled lightly, but he was brimming with strong confidence as he said, in your eyes, the Wei clan is extremely terrifying like a primordial beast, but in my eyes, they are merely a group of ants that I can annihilate with a flick of my finger. After Jiang Tian left, Yi Gufeng looked at the night sky on the window and sighed, I don't know if this is the right decision. If something happens to Jiang Tian, Ziwei will definitely fight me to the death. The news of the Banquet of Bliss swept across the southeastern part of Huaxia. In just 2 days, it had spread across half of the southern Huaxia. The Banquet of Bliss was not held every year. But all the people in Jiangnan and even the big families from other provinces had been waiting for the Banquet of Bliss to begin. Only at the Banquet of Bliss would one be able to meet the godlike Wei Shuofeng and receive his rewards. Only then would one be able to obtain magical artifacts and pills of magical powers. Or, one could be enlightened by him and turn misfortunes into blessings. For the opening of the Banquet of Bliss, who knew how many large clans from both inside and outside the province had made ample preparations. Jewels, jades, antiques, paintings, gold bars, checks, and all sorts of other gifts were prepared in exchange for Wei Shuofan's rewards. The Wei clan of Lingnan was extremely wealthy, and their assets were in the tens of billions. Ordinary people were all familiar with them. But in high society, the Wei family was even more mysterious. It was rumored that Wei Shuofan was a master of the southern sex spells. He could draw talismans with a lift of his hand, create arrays with a thought, turn reeds into swords, and scatter beans into soldiers. If one was enlightened by it, they would be able to turn misfortune into blessings, and everything would go smoothly. However, no one knew exactly where he came from. Some said that he had obtained a set of mysterious ancient scrolls and became a self-taught genius. Some said that he had once been a disciple of the Maoshan sect. There were even some who said that he had once joined a mysterious ancient sorcery sect in the 100,000 mountains of the Miao territory and had once served as a cultivation imparting elder. On this day, a Rolls-Royce Phantom and a Mercedes-Benz off-road vehicle were speeding along the highway from Linzhou to Yangcheng. Rock music came from the stereo. In the driver's seat, there was a beautiful girl wearing a spaghetti skirt and skateboard shoes. She was swaying crazily to the rhythm of the music. In the back row sat a young man in a white shirt and black trousers. He was holding a medical book in one hand and reading it with great interest. In the other hand, he was holding a girl with cold eyes and an otherworldly temperament. It was none other than Jiang Tian. The driver was his sister-in-law, Zhao Qianru. In this regard, Jiang Tian could only shake his head with a bitter smile. Zhao Qianru had already graduated and joined the Zhao Pharmaceutical Company as the chairman's assistant. After knowing that the Banquet of Bliss was being held, Zhao Qianru insisted on coming with Jiang Tian to broaden her horizons. What surprised Jiang Tian was that the Banquet of Bliss was also famous in the eyes of ordinary people. It turned out that the Banquet of Bliss was divided into internal banquet and external banquet. The internal banquet was only attended by the true members of the upper class. It was a mysterious gathering to pay respects to the Wei family and obtain Wei Shuofan's enlightenment. As for the external banquet, it was packaged as an international lifestyle brand exchange exhibition. It included a yacht exhibition, an official aircraft exhibition, a real estate exhibition, and a variety of boutique fashion brand exhibitions. Many celebrities and rich people would participate. To Zhao Qianru, who liked fashion, this was undoubtedly a fatal attraction. Jiang Tian could only agree helplessly. In the Mercedes-Benz off-road vehicle behind, there were two servants, Shen Mange and Ghost Kick. Linzhou was more than 200 kilometers away from the provincial capital, Yangcheng. At a gas station in the middle, everyone stopped to rest. Jiang Tian got out of the car to stretch his limbs and smoke a cigarette. Zhao Xueqing and Shen Mange went to the washroom together, but Qianru stuck 2 stickers on the car. "What's this?" Jiang Tian asked. "Brother-in-law, this is the Banquet of Bliss's promotional paper. It has an anti-counterfeiting symbol. We can only drive the car into the inner area after we stick it on." Zhao Qianru looked at the stickers on the car with satisfaction and smiled, "I have face. I can also participate in the Banquet of Bliss. I only wanted to participate in the internal banquet, but looking at Qianru's face, I'm afraid that I have to go to the external banquet." Jiang Tian shook his head and chuckled. Zhao Xueqing and her sister had different personalities. Qing'er was low-key and introverted. She was not flamboyant and was as calm as the water. However, Zhao Qianru was lively and passionate. Perhaps it was inherited from her mother. If he didn't go to the external banquet, Zhao Qianru would probably make a scene and cry in front of him. "Hubby, do you want strawberries?" Zhao Xueqing bought 2 boxes of strawberries at the high-speed service center and handed one to Jiang Tian. "Aya, it's so cold." Jiang Tian stuffed it into his mouth and chewed. He immediately grimaced and stared at Zhao Xueqing's captivating red lips. He laughed sinisterly, wife, I want to eat something that's not cold. TSK, you stinking hooligan. Don't have any ideas about me. Zhao Xueqing rolled her eyes at Jiang Tian. However, the corners of her eyes were filled with charm. She was so beautiful that it was soul-stirring. Oh, then I won't eat it. Jiang Tian was a little disappointed in his heart as he helplessly shrugged his shoulders. Suddenly, Zhao Xueqing stood on her tiptoes and moved in front of Jiang Tian. Her captivating red lips opened slightly, and with the tip of her tongue, she stuffed a strawberry that carried the fragrance of her lips and teeth into Jiang Tian's mouth. His lips still had the soft fragrance of her cherry lips. Jiang Tian was overjoyed and laughed, delicious, so sweet. "Io, it's so sweet." Zhao Qianru held her heart with her hands and sighed with envy. "Hee, just watch." Jiang Tian was extremely satisfied. He only felt that his wife was like this. What else could a husband ask for? He hugged his beloved wife and kissed her twice. "You're flaunting your love and spreading dog food. Why don't you look at my mood? I protest." Zhao Qianru stretched out her arms and hugged Jiang Tian's waist, then laughed. "No, the baby also wants to be hugged." All right, let's get in the car." Jiang Tian hugged her waist and got in the car. "Sister, let's sleep together tonight." Zhao Qianru smiled. "Then your brother-in-law's wish to sleep together will come true." Zhao Xueqing knew that her sister was joking and teased Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian was startled and hurriedly waved his hand. "You can't joke about this. You're not a child, why are you sleeping together?" As the three of them were teasing each other, a burst of laughter suddenly came from a Porsche Cayenne beside them. "Io, this brother is really lucky to play with sisters. It's even better than Wei Xiaobao. Not only sisters, there's also a beauty beside them." 4 groups. They even saw the beautiful and exquisite figure of Shen Mange and immediately pointed out the window and teased loudly. "What are you talking about?" Shen Mange's face turned cold and her phoenix eyes emitted a cold light. Shen Mange was a penniless maid in front of Jiang Tian, but she was actually the daughter of Yan Jing's Shen family, the chief disciple of Shenong school. How could she be blasphemed by these rich second generations of the secular world? "Little girl, you're quite fierce. What do you want?" The strong man driving the car sneered. While they were talking, Shen Mange had already arrived beside their car and kicked the tire. With a bang, the car shook violently. The tire was actually broken by Shen Mange's kick. "Forget it, Mange, let's go." Jiang Tian was too lazy to pay attention to these people. These people were driving luxury cars with Lingnan military license plates, so they must have some background. These second generations of rich second generations were afraid of small matters. The more you scolded them, the more excited they would be. They were like dog skin plasters. Jiang Tian and the others got into the car and drove away. "Damn, that's a big sister. You've punctured my tires." The strong man driving the car shook his head and looked at the tire after getting out of the car. He then started to change the spare tire. "Hee, that young man is quite handsome. I'm afraid he won't be able to take it at night." A few people laughed. However, suddenly, a girl with exquisite makeup and Prada sunglasses frowned and said, "That's strange. Why did Zhao Xueqing and Jiang Tian go to Yangcheng?" "What, Zhao Xueqing and Jiang Tian?" Everyone was confused. There were a total of 5 men and women in the Cayenne, 2 men and 3 women. In addition to the muscular man driving the car, there was also a handsome and tall young man with an extraordinary temperament. He had fashionable slanted bangs and a feminine face, very much like the style of a Korean flower boy. Among the 3 women, the girl with the sunglasses was the coldest. She was tall and had exquisite makeup. Her beautiful eyes were watery with contact lenses and her lips were red with lipstick. Especially her pair of snow-white and slender long legs, which could be said to be a pair of legs that could make lovers of beautiful legs drool. It was Zhou Xianya. Although the two girls beside her were slightly inferior to Zhou Xianya, they could still be considered top-grade beauties. If they were placed on the streets, they would be top-grade beauties that would attract a lot of attention. Moreover, looking at their clothes and jewelry, they seemed to be from a wealthy family. Hearing this, they looked at Zhou Xianya in confusion. Suddenly, the beautiful man seemed to have thought of something and his body trembled. Xianya, are you talking about the daughter of Lin Zhou's Xiao family? Lin Zhou's Xiao family? Who? The two girls were from Yangcheng and had just returned from a trip. They didn't know about the situation in Linzhou. Zhou Xianya frowned and said, "It's them. But they just offended the Ji family. Why would they go to Yangcheng to court death? Xianya, you've been in Linzhou all this time and you're familiar with Zhao Xueqing. You shouldn't be mistaken." The beautiful man frowned and gritted his teeth, but why would she dare to go to Yangcheng? Isn't she afraid that young Master Tang and young Master Ji will kill them? The Zhao family once cheated young Master Tang, and young Master Tang took it as a humiliation of his life. What are you talking about? Who is this girl? How is she related to the Ji family and young Master Tang? She even cheated young Master Tang. The two fair, rich, and beautiful girls were confused by the conversation between the two. The beautiful man glanced at them and a trace of disdain appeared in the depths of his eyes. Although they were all in Yangcheng's circle, he was already considered a top-tier young master. Usually, he couldn't be bothered with these big-breasted, brainless rich girls. If it wasn't for their good relationship with Zhou Xianya, he wouldn't have brought them out to play. But in the end, the beautiful man patiently explained, "You should have heard that Tang Xiaozi from the Tang family arranged a marriage 3 years ago, right?" Chapter 120. That's right. The news spread like wildfire in the circle back then. I wonder which family's young lady is so lucky to be favored by young Master Tang. The two girls chattered excitedly, chattering non-stop. The handsome man continued, "Back then, there were many young ladies who wanted to propose marriage to Tang Xiaozi. Rumor has it that there was even the daughter of a provincial party secretary in the West. However, young Master Tang had his eyes on that girl in Linzhou City." Linzhou City. What other decent girls could there be in such a small place other than Xianya? That's right. Other than the Tang family, there's still some capital. The two girls said in disdain. That's right. The handsome man sighed. The Zhao family can't be compared to the Tang family. It was only when Wei Fang's father, Wei Jinghu, proposed marriage that Zhao Xueqing caught young Master Tang's attention. Zhao Xueqing is known as the flower of Linzhou City. Although her family's assets are less than 100 million, she's beautiful and has a pure temperament. She has a good reputation in Linzhou City. Young Master Tang was infatuated with her the moment he saw her. I heard that the Zhao family is also very satisfied with young Master Tang. Young Master Tang is very generous with his work. The Zhao family is in the pharmaceutical industry, and young Master Tang bought 50 million worth of medicine from them. But who would have thought that Zhao Xueqing wouldn't agree to it no matter what? In the end, the marriage fell through just like that. The two girls kept quiet out of fear when they heard that. They didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Before they knew it, they could still talk about it. But now, they were scared out of their wits. In Yangcheng, the Tang family was one of the few major families, and Tang Xiaozi was a first-rate young master. But now, he was made a fool out of. Just hearing about it was enough to make one's heart tremble. In Lingnan, who would dare to play with young Master Tang like that? Wouldn't that be courting death? Young Master Tang is not allowed to talk about this matter because of the humiliation he suffered in his life. The handsome man glanced at the two of them and instructed, "You're not allowed to talk about it when you're outside. Do you understand?" The two girls nodded like chickens pecking at rice. Did you notice? Their car has the Blissful Banquet's logo. I'm afraid that they're going to attend the Blissful Banquet. Zhou Xianya suddenly, she crossed her arms. Hee hee, this bitch is really bold. The handsome youth gnashed his teeth and said, the Zhao family cheated brother Xiaozi just like that, and they still dare to go to the banquet of bliss. After all, the Tang family is one of the organizers of the banquet of bliss. Speaking up to this point, the handsome young man looked at the brawny man who was sitting in the driver's seat after changing the tire and said in a deep voice, Yunpeng, you're young Master Tang's good brother. You won't ignore this matter this time, right? Yunpeng was tall and burly, his surging muscles almost bursting out of his camouflage t-shirt. Like a small mountain, he sat in the driver's seat. His calloused fingers tapped the steering wheel, and his eyes were gloomy as he said in a deep voice, Lu Fan, don't worry. If they offend me, I will chop them into pieces. Seeing this, Zhou Xianya's lips curled into a mocking smile as she mocked in her heart, Jiang Tian, Zhao Xueqing, you guys have been doing well in Jiangbei these days, but what are you in Yangcheng? You'll definitely be played to death by Lu Fan and Yunpeng. She crossed her arms as her eyes were filled with arrogance. Her smile was getting colder and colder. Humph, you guys didn't know that I'm already Lu Fan's girlfriend. I can even talk to young Master Tang. When the time comes, I want you guys to kneel before me and beg for mercy. Jiang Tian had no idea about this. They arrived in Yangcheng at 11 o'clock in the afternoon. Shen Mange and Ghost Kick checked into a hotel near the Banquet of Bliss. On the other hand, Jiang Tian and Zhao Xueqing drove to a villa in the suburbs. Brother-in-law, sister, you must be polite when you see my grandpa, uncle, and cousin later. Zhao Qianru exhorted after getting out of the car. Zhao Xueqing also smiled gently and said, don't worry. In my eyes, old man Wei is also my grandpa. Okay, don't worry. Jiang Tian's eyes flashed as he nodded and carried the bags of gifts. Other than attending the banquet of bliss, they also wanted to visit Zhao Qianru's grandpa and uncle's family. Zhao Qianru's grandpa was called Wei Jinghu, and Wei Fang was his youngest daughter. Old man Wei was once the head of Yangcheng's organization in the 1990s. Wei Jinghu had a deep network of connections. His children had also spread out, and his family members were involved in business and politics. With him as the center, they formed a sizable family. Jiang Tian had a faint impression of Wei Jinghu. In his impression, Wei Jinghu only went to Lin Zhou a few times, and every time, he ignored him and Zhao Xueqing. Originally, Wei Jinghu was furious when Wei Fang married Zhao Hucheng and Zhao Hucheng brought along Zhao Xueqing as a burden. In his previous life, when the Jiang family was destroyed, Jiang Tian and Zhao Xueqing had come to the Wei family for help. However, Wei Jinghu was like an emperor and refused to see them. Although it had been 10,000 years, Jiang Tian could still remember the cold-blooded face of the Wei family back then, and it made him feel unhappy. Coming to the door, Zhao Qianru pressed the doorbell and shouted, cousin, we're here. With a whoosh, the electric door opened. A girl with a beautiful face, a tall figure, and a refined temperament walked out and said with a smile, Qianru has become a great beauty. Cousin. Zhao Qianru hugged the girl's arm and smiled sweetly. The girl was called Wei Jiqiong, the daughter of Zhao Qianru's second uncle, Wei Tianhe. She was in her late 20s and graduated from Huaqing University's management school. She was currently the head of the strategy department in the Wei family's industrial group. Zhao Xueqing also went up and greeted with a smile, cousin. Wei Jiqiong's gaze fell on Zhao Xueqing and Jiang Tian, and a trace of disdain flashed in her eyes. She nodded arrogantly as a form of greeting. Then, she pulled Zhao Qianru into the villa and whispered, Qianru, it's fine if you're here, but why did you ask them to come? Don't make your grandfather unhappy. She didn't have a good impression of Zhao Xueqing and Jiang Tian. Zhao Xueqing was cold, arrogant, stubborn, and ignorant. Back then, old man Wei tried to pull strings for her to marry Tang Xiaozi, the eldest young master of the Tang family. However, she firmly refused, putting the Wei family in an awkward position. Since then, old man Wei would shake his head at the mention of Zhao Xueqing. He originally thought that Zhao Xueqing was arrogant and would marry some rich young master, but who knew that it was the ignorant and useless Jiang Tian. Moreover, he heard that Jiang Tian had drunk too much and hurt his brain, causing him to go crazy. In the eyes of the Wei family, whether it was Zhao Xueqing or Jiang Tian, they were all a joke. My sister and brother-in-law are different now. They succeeded in making the muscle-nourishing ointment, and now my mother has handed the company over to them. My sister has become the chairman. Zhao Qianru said loudly. Hearing this, Wei Jieqiong's expression changed. How did the two of them seize control of the Zhao Pharmaceutical Company? This was too strange. At this moment, Wei Jieqiong was so anxious that she stomped her feet and rebuked, Qianru, she's the chairman now. What's wrong with you and Aunt? Why did you hand over the controlling shares to them? As they spoke, everyone arrived at the luxuriously decorated hall. He saw an old man with a thin face and white hair sitting in the middle. He was dignified without being angry, and he had quite a bit of temperament. On the sofa around him, there were first uncle's family, second uncle's family, and first aunt's family. There were many people. The man's bearing was calm, while the woman's was noble. The young men and women of the third generation were also handsome and beautiful, and they had achieved great achievements in their respective fields. On the four walls of the living room, there were photos of Wei Jinghu with some provincial leaders, including many feudal officials. Zhao Qianru immediately went up to greet, "Hello, Grandpa." Wei Jinghu nodded kindly and smiled, "Qianru, I heard that you have graduated. You have to work hard." He took out an exquisite gift box and smiled, "I'll give you a wristwatch. You have to have a sense of time. You can't be late for work." "Wow, Patek Philippe." "Thank you, Grandpa." Zhao Qianru was overjoyed. Just this wristwatch alone cost more than 100,000 yuan, which was equivalent to a year's salary. When Jiang Tian placed the gift on the coffee table, Zhao Xueqing also went up to greet, "Hello, Grandpa." Wei Jinghu only snorted. His face wasn't cold, and there wasn't any smile on his face. He lowered his head and drank his tea. "Sister, brother-in-law, take a seat." Zhao Qianru immediately pulled Jiang Tian and his wife to sit down, helping the two of them out of the situation. After chatting for a while, Wei Jinghu smiled, "Qianru, your aunt knows that you're coming. She has booked a banquet at the Hilton Hotel. But I'm old, and I don't like to move. Why don't we eat at home?" "Grandpa, it's good to eat at home. It's convenient." Zhao Qianru naturally had nothing to say and smiled sweetly. The banquet was held in the living room, but the chefs were all from five-star hotels. First, they made exquisite cold dishes. Cod liver with orange vinegar, crystal pork knuckles, sauced venison, and braised beef tendon. The ingredients were all carefully selected, and they were all made by chefs. After that, it was the appetizer before the main course. The pot of Buddha jumps over the wall soup had been brewing since yesterday. Yangqing City was the best in Cantonese cuisine. There were many different styles, and the flavors were salty, sour, and spicy. "I heard that your father is doing well recently. Has he been transferred to the municipal committee?" Wei Jinghu took a sip of wine and asked. After he retired, his blood pressure was a little high, and he basically stopped drinking white wine. Now, he was drinking white wine from Italy's top winery, Tuscany. It wasn't expensive, and it was only 50,000 yuan per bottle. The old man drank a few mouthfuls every day, and he heard that it had the effect of promoting blood circulation. Before the Zhao sisters could speak, eldest aunt spoke in disdain, "Dad, what's the point of being an office director in a small city like Linzhou City? Big brother is now an office director in Yangqing City's municipal government. This is the provincial capital." Everyone looked at Wei Tianduan's family with envy. On the other hand, the Zhao Xueqing sisters had an awkward expression on their faces. Wei Tianduan only smiled politely, "This is nothing. I'm still a far cry from my father's achievements back then. Big brother has always been steady in his work. In the future, our Wei family will have a deputy mayor. Wei Tianhe, who was the investment director of Yangqing City's state-owned investment group, smiled. Ha, Big Brother will definitely be able to catch up to Dad in the future. Our family will definitely have a provincial government official. Eldest uncle praised. When Big Brother becomes the deputy mayor, I'll see if anyone dares to criticize Tianhe. Second aunt snorted. Sigh. I'm still worried about Wei Fang and her husband. Wei Jinghu sighed. If Wei Fang had listened to me back then, how could she be an office director in the municipal committee? Dad, you can't blame them for this. Wei Tianhe snorted. Back then, Wei Fang had so many suitors, and she insisted on marrying Zhao Hucheng. They had to work hard to start a business, and Zhao Hucheng had a burden holding him back. How could he achieve anything when he didn't even have time to work? When Zhao Xueqing heard the words burden, her body trembled as tears welled up in her eyes. However, she was gentle and kind, so she didn't say anything. Chapter 121. What burden? You better be more polite when you speak. In my opinion, my wife is a noble, and you guys aren't even comparable to a strand of her hair. Seeing his wife's aggrieved expression, Jiang Tian was instantly enraged. Knitting his brows, he coldly reprimanded, with me around, my wife will become a pharmaceutical magnate and the richest person in the world in the future. Who are you to say anything about that? It seemed that the Wei family was still the same as before. They liked to climb up the social ladder, despising the poor and favoring the rich. Such a clan, if they couldn't even achieve internal unity, how could they achieve anything great? Strictly speaking, they were only Zhao Qianru's relatives and had nothing to do with Zhao Xueqing. If it weren't for Zhao Hucheng and his wife, Jiang Tian wouldn't have come to visit. Why should he give them face when he saw how rude they were? Impudent. How can you speak to your elders like that? You're so young, yet you have no respect for your elders. How did the Jiang family teach you? Becoming a pharmaceutical magnate and the richest person in the world? May I ask if a lunatic like you knows how to spell those words? Shameless boasting. Everyone was instantly enraged. Anger was written all over their faces as they all criticized and mocked Jiang Tian. Alright, since you're a guest, you can't be unreasonable. You're losing the reputation of our Wei family. Wei Jinghu frowned and waved his hand, but his eyes were filled with contempt. He was clearly mocking Jiang Tian for being rude. Old Wei, your Wei family seems to be related to Wei Shuofeng, right? Jiang Tian glanced at the photo on the wall and suddenly asked. You even know about Wei Shuofeng? Everyone was curious. They thought that Jiang Tian was an idiot who didn't know about the qualifications of an expert like Wei Shuofeng. Yeah, Wei Shuofeng and I are from the same hometown. Although we're not from the same school, our relationship is still pretty good. Wei Jinghu's tone was light, but the arrogance in his eyes couldn't be concealed. Actually, he was just bragging. Wei Shuofeng was a transcendent being with a high status that their Wei family couldn't climb up to. The last time he had met Wei Shuofeng was 10 years ago. He had gone to celebrate Wei Shuofeng's birthday, but he wasn't even qualified to have a meal with him. Wei Shuofeng had only agreed to take a photo with him after pleading in every possible way. However, he had enlarged the photo by 10 times and hung it in the most conspicuous place to decorate his shop. If there were guests, he would definitely talk about his deep friendship with Wei Shuofeng. Elder Wei, Wei Shuofeng is going to be finished soon. You better stay away from him. Jiang Tian said calmly as he sipped his juice. What do you know? An expert like old immortal Wei is not someone you can talk about. How dare you? You're just a lunatic. What qualifications do you have to comment on such an expert? Boasting shamelessly. Do you know what kind of terrifying existence old immortal Wei is? Hearing Jiang Tian's words, everyone almost went crazy with anger. One after another, they slammed the table and shouted angrily, wishing that they could skin Jiang Tian alive. Qianru, Xueqing, you have to control him. If he says this outside, old immortal Wei's followers will tear him apart. Even Wei Jinghu's expression changed drastically. He was very unhappy. If not for the fact that Jiang Tian's mental state was not very good and it was inconvenient to argue with him, he would have already thrown him out. At this time, Wei Jieqiong leaned over to Wei Jinghu's ear and whispered a few words. Wei Jinghu immediately became angry. He slammed the table and scolded, "Nonsense! Dad, what's wrong?" A few of his children exclaimed. Wei Jinghu's face was gloomy and he did not say anything. However, he was so angry that his hands were trembling. Wei Jieqiong laughed disdainfully. "I don't know what happened, but Auntie handed Zhao Pharmaceutical Company to Xueqing and Jiang Tian." "What? She handed the company to them? What can a lunatic and a fool do? Auntie has always been smart. How can she be so stupid? Zhao Pharmaceutical Company is finished." All the members of the Wei family could not believe it. They were very agitated and pounded their chests. "Madman Jiang, how did you take away the shares through trickery and deceit? This company is Auntie's life's work. How can she give it to them just like that? Wouldn't they be trampling on it?" "That's right. A lunatic who eats, drinks, and gambles. I'm afraid the company will be destroyed in less than half a year." Some of the third-generation descendants who could not hide their thoughts pointed at Jiang Tian and scolded loudly. "Hee, I didn't take it by force. Auntie Wei Fang willingly handed the company to us." In the face of the crowd's mockery, Jiang Tian's expression did not change. He crossed his legs and sipped his tea in satisfaction. "Qianru, what's going on? How come I didn't know about such a big matter?" Wei Jinghu slammed the table and shouted angrily. Zhao Qianru was scared silly. She quickly stood up and said, "Grandfather, don't be anxious. The muscle-nourishing ointment was developed by brother-in-law and sister. The reason why Dad was transferred to the municipal committee was because Secretary Tang gave face to my brother-in-law." When these words came out, everyone looked at Zhao Qianru as if they were looking at an idiot. Their faces were filled with disbelief. Mental illness doesn't seem to be an infectious disease, right? Wei Jieqiong's beautiful eyes widened as she covered her red lips and laughed. "He's a lunatic. What can he possibly come up with? Qianru, are you crazy? Secretary Tang gave face to Jiang Tian. How is that possible?" The juniors discussed among themselves. They did not believe it at all. Let's not talk about the Jiang family now. Even when they were at their peak, the Jiang family's tentacles couldn't reach Lin Zhou. Second uncle Wei Tianhe slapped his thigh and said, "Jiang Tian offended a big family and was expelled from Jinling. How can the Jiang family help him?" Second aunt sneered. "Humph. Qianru, your whole family must have been deceived by him." Little uncle said with certainty. "It's true. I saw it with my own eyes. The Tang family treated brother-in-law and sister as VIPs. Even Tang Guizhu had to be courteous to them." Zhao Qianru was so anxious that she was about to cry. Not only that, even Yi Gufeng of the East Sea and Xue Mingyi of Jiangzhou treated brother-in-law with respect. Now brother-in-law's name is well known in the 3 cities of Jiangbei. No one dares to offend him. "Humph, nonsense. You guys eat. I'm going upstairs to sleep." Wei Jinghu was so angry that he could not eat anymore. He left in a huff. First uncle, second uncle, third uncle, and the rest of the second-generation descendants went upstairs to persuade the old man. Downstairs, only a few of the younger generation descendants were left. "Let's go. We're not eating this meal." Jiang Tian frowned and pulled Zhao Xueqing away. "Brother-in-law, sister, don't be angry. It's all my fault. I didn't explain it clearly and caused a misunderstanding. But we're family after all." Zhao Qianru hurriedly pulled Jiang Tian. She was about to cry. "Forget it. Those who don't know are not guilty." Jiang Tian, don't make our relationship so tense. Zhao Xueqing also persuaded, think about it. If you leave now, how is my dad going to enter the Wei family's door in the future? Listen to me and finish this meal before you leave. Seeing this, Jiang Tian was helpless as well. Qing'er had always had the temperament of being wronged, so he could only sit down again and silently eat. Among the third-generation descendants downstairs, Wei Jieqiong and another one called Wei Jiehui were the most outstanding. Wei Jiehui was Wei Tianduan's son. He graduated from Zhonghai Jiaodong University and worked in the Bureau of Commerce in Yangqing City. He was promoted to a director before the age of 30 and had a bright future ahead of him. He was the most outstanding person among the third generation of the Wei family. Moreover, it was obvious that Wei Jiehui was a scheming and steady person. So many people were mocking Jiang Tian just now. Even some of the uncles could not sit still. However, he was the only one who did not say a word and looked on coldly. Everyone basically surrounded the two of them and did not bother to talk to Jiang Tian and the other two. As they chatted, the topic turned to the banquet of bliss, which had been in the limelight recently. Everyone was instantly excited. Brother Jiehui, I heard that there are a lot of young models and prostitutes there. Is that true? A kid winked and said. Wei Jiehui only smiled faintly and did not comment. Wei Jieqiong scolded, that's all you know, kid. You don't know that this is just a gathering of the upper echelons of society. It is a gathering of the upper echelons of society. It is organized by the provincial government and a few prominent families in Yangqing City. Even the leaders of the provincial government and city government will be there. What are the prominent families? Everyone asked curiously. The Tang clan, the Bai clan, the Tai clan, the Mo clan. Wei Jieqiong spat out a few big clans that made everyone's hearts soar. Tang family. The biggest real estate conglomerate in Yangqing City. Bai family. The biggest film company in Lingnan City. Tai family. They are worth tens of billions. I think they are one of the top 10 military companies in the country. Everyone exclaimed. These families controlled almost all of Lingnan City's economic lifeline. Each of them was worth tens of billions. Wei Jinghu's family could only look up to them. Brother Hui, don't you know Tang Shaozi? Can you take us to the banquet of bliss? Suddenly, the young master who had been very interested in the outside girls asked again. His name was Wei Yang and he was Wei Jieqiong's younger brother. He was famous for being a spoiled brat. His father sent him to a community college in Australia to study after he scored less than 200 points in his college entrance exam. Australia was a place where Chinese people were rare, so he could not stay there. Every few days, he would come back to China. Even though he didn't learn anything, he was able to indulge in all sorts of entertainment in Yangqing. Now, he was thinking about the banquet of bliss. How can you participate in a place like this? Wei Jiehui rolled his eyes at them. Everyone's faces turned sour and they looked disheartened. Seeing this, Wei Jiehui took out a few tickets and smiled. But Master Tang did give me a few tickets to the banquet of bliss. Banquet of bliss? That works too. The banquet of bliss is not formal, but it's more fun. Everyone cheered and fought over the tickets. There were not enough tickets to go around. Wei Jiehui looked at Jiang Tian and smiled apologetically. I'm sorry, Jiang Tian. There are only so many tickets. But I don't think it's useful for you to participate in a banquet like this. As soon as he said that, the young people looked at Jiang Tian and Zhao Xueqing. Some looked at them mockingly, some looked at them coldly, and some looked at them with all kinds of complicated emotions. In their eyes, Jiang Tian was ignorant, incompetent, penniless, and even crazy. He was the highest quality of trash. If he participated in this kind of gathering, he would only become a laughingstock, right? No need. We have tickets. Even a clay figurine would be enraged by such humiliation. Zhao Xueqing took out a ticket and smiled coldly. Everyone was stunned. How could she have a ticket? Chapter 122. Wei Yang smiled mockingly and said, "It's just one. If you go alone, are you going to leave Jiang Tian here? This is a family coupon. You can bring a maximum of 20 people in." Zhao Qianru snorted coldly. "It's fake, it must be fake. Why would they invite you to a prestigious event like the Feast of Bliss? Moreover, family coupons are all given to large families. In Linzhou, only large families like the Tang family are qualified to receive one." Everyone started to clamor, their faces filled with disdain. They did not believe it at all. Wei Jiqiong sneered and said, "Xueqing, Jiang Tian, is there any point in pretending like this? It'll be exposed sooner or later. Alright, alright, alright. I hope to see you at the banquet tonight." Suddenly, Wei Jiehui's phone rang. He picked it up and was shocked. He gestured for everyone to keep quiet. "It's a call from Tang Xiaoze." Tang Xiaoze. Everyone immediately fell silent, not daring to make even the slightest sound. Wei Jiehui stood up and answered the call with a smile. "Young Master Tang, what instructions do you have?" Even through the phone, he still had a fawning expression on his face. He had already glimpsed the essence of Hua Xia's officialdom. After saying a few words, he looked at Jiang Tian and Zhao Xueqing in surprise and said, "Yes, they are here. Yes, yes, yes. I'll definitely bring them there." After hanging up the phone, Wei Jiehui looked at Jiang Tian and said suspiciously, "Jiang Tian, Xueqing, Tang Xiaoze would like to invite you to dinner and attend the Feast of Bliss." Everyone turned their heads in unison and looked at Jiang Tian in surprise. They could not believe it. Could it be that he really had an invitation? How could a lunatic like him catch Tang Xiaoze's attention? Sure. Jiang Tian readily agreed. He wanted to fight with the Wei family, so he had to take in these young masters as his subordinates. It was better to observe them early. Wei Jiqiong pondered for a moment before suddenly bursting into laughter. "Jiang Tian, Xueqing, do you really dare to go? Aren't you afraid that Tang Xiaoze will break your legs?" "Oh, I see." Wei Yang came to a realization. Then, he looked at Jiang Tian mockingly and said, "Jiang Tian, Xueqing, you guys better not go. If Tang Xiaoze wants to bully you, we won't be able to stop him. He had a big mouth and spilled everything. Did you know that Tang Xiaoze was originally engaged to Xueqing? The Zhao family even got an order from them, but Xueqing chose you in the end. Think about it, how would Tang Xiaoze treat you guys? There's such a complicated story behind this. Sister Xueqing, what were you thinking back then? You don't even like Tang Xiaoze. Young Master Tang must have given this ticket to Sister Xueqing, right? Jiang Tian, do you still dare to go now?" Everyone came to a sudden realization and their expressions changed. Then, they looked at Jiang Tian mockingly. "Who told you to be so arrogant? Now, why don't you continue to be arrogant? You're even famous in the 3 cities of Jiangbei," made Ye Gufeng bow his head, "and even treated as an honored guest by the Tang family." "Bullshit. If you really have such ability, you might be able to fight Tang Xiaoze head-on. If you're just bragging, you'll probably be trampled to death by Tang Xiaoze like an ant. Then all the more I have to go. I want to let Tang Xiaoze know that Qing'er's choice of me was right." Jiang Tian's expression was calm as he held Zhao Xueqing's little hand and smiled gently. "Fuck, are you really going to court death?" Wei Yang couldn't believe it. He looked at Jiang Tian as if he was looking at an idiot. His eyebrows were raised to the sky as he said disdainfully, "If Tang Xiaoze doesn't break your legs today, I'll call you brother-in-law from now on. You really can't talk about summer insects with ice. These people think that some bullshit young master is amazing. How would they know the capabilities of cultivators?" Jiang Tian only smiled indifferently and couldn't be bothered to refute. They were just distant relatives. In his previous life, no one in the huge Wei family had really helped him and Zhao Xueqing. If it weren't for Zhao Qianru, Jiang Tian wouldn't have come at all. He would have left long ago. After sitting for a while, Jiang Tian and the other two bid farewell and left. Zhao Qianru couldn't be bothered to greet her grandfather and even left the wristwatch behind. Today, her grandfather's family's attitude towards Jiang Tian made her very uncomfortable. Jiang Tian, are you really going to go tonight? Will there be anything wrong? In the car, Zhao Xueqing wanted to say something but hesitated. She said awkwardly, back then, the Zhao Pharmaceutical Company did accept an order from the Tang family. We were in the wrong. Shuai, don't take this to heart. The Zhao family accepting their order is giving them face. Jiang Tian smiled faintly. Back then, when he was in the extraterritorial space, he went on a crusade and killed without restraint. God knows how many planets and continents he had plundered. What was a mere few tens of millions worth of goods? He comforted her gently. Don't you know what your husband is capable of? With me around, you can do whatever you want in Yangcheng. That's good too. Do as you wish. Zhao Xueqing gradually relaxed and smiled. Zhao Qianru raised her arms and cheered. Her face was red with excitement. Brother-in-law, you look so cool when you hit people. Are you going to hit people tonight too? How can I be so boorish at such a high-end social event? I hate violence the most. Be civilized, you must be civilized. I am a gentleman. Jiang Tian shook his head, unperturbed. You can act all you want in front of my sister. Zhao Qianru's face darkened. Was it not considered violence when you hit Zhou Zhenghao's underlings? Jiang Tian smiled mischievously. Isn't Wei Shuofeng known as the sorcery master? Since all the heroes of Jiangnan are worshipping me, I'll show them what a real spell is. In the evening, Wei Jiehui, Wei Jieqiong, and Wei Yang drove a Mercedes-Benz to the hotel to pick them up. Jiang Tian brought Zhao Xueqing and her sister downstairs and got into the Rolls-Royce Phantom. The two cars quickly started and went straight to the venue of the Banquet of Bliss. Shen Mange and Ghost Kick also drove behind quietly. Yangcheng, Cape Beach. When everyone arrived, they were all shocked. The 3-kilometer-long beach was surrounded by metal fences. The lights were dazzling, and there was a hubbub of voices. The surroundings were heavily guarded, and many police officers were patrolling. In the sky, a few hot air balloons floated, and a few bright three-dimensional words hung down. Banquet of Bliss. In the parking lot, hundreds of luxury cars were piled up. BMWs and Mercedes-Benz were all starting cars. Most of them were supercars such as Maserati, Lamborghini, and McLaren. There were even many Bugatti Veyron and Aston Martin. In the coastal area, there were nearly 1,000 berths, and luxury yachts that were rarely seen in Huaxia were parked there. There were many top international yacht brands such as America's Mercedes-Benz, France's Bernardo, and Italy's Faraday. Each of them was priced at 10 million yuan. Behind the beach was a gently rolling mountain range that stretched for 10 kilometers. It was the famous Tidehark Mountain in Yangcheng. On Tidehark Mountain, there was a magnificent villa-style hotel. Its background was mysterious and its owner was unknown, but Jiang Tian had already investigated it. It was the property of the Wei family. Out of the parking lot, there was a red carpet that stretched for 3 miles. There were flowers on both sides, and cameras and SLR cameras. All the major media outlets in Huaxia were there, and their cameras flashed frequently. The next day, there would be a yacht race and auction. 1% of the transaction would be donated to a charity fund. Walking on the red carpet, everyone felt that their eyes weren't enough. Financial tycoons, industry giants, and celebrities appeared one after another. There was no lack of political figures among them. There were also beautiful girls in bikinis or evening gowns gathered in this area. They were either tall and elegant or petite and exquisite, but all of them had picturesque features and pretty faces. They were all able to suppress Wei Jieqiong and Wei Ruyun. These are the legendary young models, right? Wei Yang's eyes were filled with excitement as he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Wei Jieqiong rolled her eyes at him. As long as you can bring them into the venue, you can do whatever you want. But you have to be careful of your influence. Don't worry, big brother. I won't do anything rash. Wei Yang's face was filled with fear as he shook his head. I don't care about them. He was meeting Tang Xiaozi and the other young masters today. If he were to act rashly, it might cause a negative impact and leave a bad impression. Wei Jiehui nodded and looked at Jiang Tian. However, he saw Jiang Tian's calm expression, as if he was used to such things. He could not help but be slightly surprised. However, he did not mind. Jiang Tian was a good-for-nothing descendant of a fallen family. How could he compare to young Master Tang? When they arrived at the entrance, there was indeed a restriction. Zhao Xueqing held Jiang Tian's arm and walked into the venue with her head held high. On the beach where the banquet was held, the rich and powerful had already gathered. The rich people attending the banquet were all worth at least 1 billion yuan. Someone from the Mo family is here. The head of the Mo family, Mo Haoxiong. Suddenly, an exclamation came from the crowd. An old man with an extraordinary bearing walked over with his head held high, surrounded by more than 10 young disciples. This old man was already in his 70s, but his bearing was extraordinary. His powerful aura suppressed the entire venue, and his tiger-like eyes shone brightly. Even some of the top tycoons showed respect and fear when they saw the old man. He had achieved initial transcendent state and was the only grandmaster in Lingnan. He was known as the guardian god and was as famous as Hong Tianzhao. Even overlords like Li Jinwei and Tang Guizhu were taught by him. Back in the day, the fierce tiger special forces of the Lingnan military region wanted to recruit Mo Haoxiong as their instructor. However, old Master Mo refused. That was when Tang Guizhu from Linzhou City took over. If he wanted to lead the fierce tiger special forces, the fierce tiger special forces would be even more powerful now. Even so, the military still values old Master Mo a lot. They often ask him to teach them. Even the military officers have nothing but respect for him. Seeing Mo Haoxiong walk over, everyone was filled with admiration and envy. Someone from the Bai family is here. It is Bai Choufei, the young master of the Bai family. His date tonight is Hua Xia's most popular star, Guo Jihua. That's an Oscar winner after all. Young Master Bai is so lucky. Another round of exclamations came from the crowd. Bai Choufei was in his mid-30s, but he was still single. He was known as the most eligible bachelor in Lingnan. His appearance was handsome, and his figure was tall and straight. His pair of long legs made him seem like a crane among chickens. He greeted everyone along the way with a graceful demeanor. Chapter 123. His female companion was the Hua Xia star, Guo Jihua. She was wearing a red evening gown. She had successfully entered Hollywood and left her name and fingerprints on the Walk of Fame. Her endorsement fees were over 100 million. There were only a handful of Hua Xia stars who could surpass her in terms of achievements and influence. The Bai family has a net worth of 50 billion. They are in the cultural industry. Now, young Master Bai has led the Bai family into the film and television investment industry. Their movies have grossed over 100 million at the box office. Besides, the Bai family is also the #1 entertainment tycoon in the 7 cities of Jiangnan. The Flying Cloud Club led by Bai Choufei is the #1 club in Jiangnan. It can even defeat Yi Gufeng of Jiangbei. Everyone at the scene was extremely envious. It was rare to see such an achievement at such a young age. Rumble. In the sky, a series of roaring sounds could be heard. Helicopters circled around and landed on the tarmac, stirring up dust and flying colorful flags. The Tai family is here. It's a fleet of helicopters. Look at this formation. It should be the eldest son of the Tai family, Tai Minghuang. Everyone pointed at the sky and exclaimed. Each of these helicopters was worth tens of millions. However, they were all private assets of the Tai family. The Tai family started out as a civil aviation company. They owned South China Airlines. Now, they were also investing in the military and civilian industries. They had made a lot of money in the general aviation industry. The Tai family was in charge of the business jet exhibition. Uncle Mo, Brother Bai, you guys are early. Tai Minghuang was not a soldier, but he was wearing a camouflage combat uniform, high-top combat boots, and a pair of windproof tactical goggles. He walked over and greeted Mo Haoxiong and Bai Choufei. As time went by, more and more VIPs arrived. Brother Tai, several of your helicopters are newly developed models. They're selling well. You must have made a lot of money, right? Pfft, Brother Bai, you must be kidding me. I work in the factory every day. I'm not like you, a superstar who sleeps with a young model and earns hundreds of millions from one movie. Mr. Zhang, you're here too. Your urban complex is open for business. I heard it's selling well. Pfft, Mr. Liu, you're mocking me again. I heard that your rare earth mine reserves are quite large. You'll get 10 times the income from one investment. Mr. Zhang, I'm Zhang Yaji from Green Orange Entertainment. May I get to know you? Miss Zhang, I've heard so much about you. I have an endorsement that I want to talk to you about. How about we talk at my hotel tonight? The field was full of such conversations. Everyone held their wine glasses and communicated with each other. In just a few words, they had reached a deal worth hundreds of millions or even billions. There were even celebrities and models shuttling back and forth like butterflies, adding a bit of color to the gathering, making the venue seem extraordinarily lively and unprecedentedly grand. Suddenly, someone pointed at the parking lot outside the door and exclaimed in shock. Holy shit, a Bugatti Veyron, 200 million. There are less than 10 of them in total. The license plate is Guangdong, 58. It's obviously Master Tang's car. Tang Xiaozi is here. A discerning person slapped his thigh and exclaimed. Let's go and welcome them. When these words sounded, everyone hurriedly went up to welcome them. Even Bai Choufei and Iron Light Monarch couldn't sit still. Other than the monster from the Wei family, Tang Xiaozi was the leader of the younger generation in the Jiangnan province, not to mention in Yangcheng. This kid is incredible. He's so young, but he already has tens of billions of assets under his control. Half of the houses in Yangcheng were built by him. Even a grandmaster like Mo Haoxiong, who was in charge of a region, was moved when he saw him. He clapped his hands in admiration. Seeing Tang Xiaozi enter the venue, even Mo Haoxiong didn't dare to be arrogant and went to welcome him personally. Tang Xiaozi is incredible. In the crowd, a tycoon in the real estate industry shook his head and lamented. 5 years ago, Tang Xiaozi opened a branch in the East China Sea and fought with local tycoons like Yi Gufeng and Lu Zikuan. Yi Gufeng's company went bankrupt and a few of their projects became unfinished buildings. How can Yi Gufeng compare to Master Tang? Someone in the know said with disdain. The other tycoons were all startled after hearing this. They finally realized how extraordinary Tang Xiaozi was. At that time, Tang Xiaozi had just returned from Wall Street and entered the East China Sea as the CEO of the Tang family's East China Sea branch. Then, he launched a series of attacks in the East China Sea and engaged in a fierce battle with Yi Gufeng. In just half a year, Yi Gufeng was defeated. From then on, Yi Gufeng stopped dabbling in real estate and focused on shipping. Since then, Tang Xiaozi had become a rare opponent in the real estate industry in Huaxia. He could even drink with the mayor of Yangcheng. He was indeed a business genius. Master Tang, you're here. Master Tang, I finally get to meet you. Tang Xiaozi immediately became the center of attention when he arrived at the venue. He was like a magnet that attracted all the tycoons, celebrities, and tycoons. Tang Xiaozi was in his 30s. He was tall and well-built. He had sharp eyebrows and bright eyes. He was definitely a handsome man and attracted the attention of many socialites. He greeted and exchanged greetings with everyone one by one. He was refined and courteous, without losing his poise. 3 top-notch young masters have gathered. I didn't come to this banquet of bliss in vain. Tang Xiaozi, Bai Choufei, Tai Minghuang, together with that monster from Wei family, Yang Cheng's 4 great young masters can be said to be able to cover the sky with one hand in the Jiangnan area. Many tycoons sighed as they looked at Tang Xiaozi and the others. There was envy, jealousy, and respect. They were too outstanding and outstanding, shining like stars in the sky. Their achievements could suppress many old tycoons and old giants. However, Bai Choufei discovered that Tang Xiaozi's eyes seemed to be a bit gloomy. His smile was stiff and he seemed to have lost his soul. He pulled over Tang Xiaozi's loyal little brother Lu Fan and asked, "Little Lu, what's wrong with Master Tang today? He doesn't seem to be in the right state." "Master Tang, don't mention it." Lu Fan was precisely the handsome guy who met Jiang Tian's group on the highway. He immediately shook his head and said with a bitter smile, "Lin State Zhao family's Zhao Xueqing brought her husband to participate in the banquet of bliss. Do you think Master Tang is in a good mood?" "Which Zhao family?" "That Zhao family that broke off the engagement." Bai Choufei was greatly astonished. "N." Lu Fan nodded. "Holy shit, is she crazy? What is she doing here? Isn't she going to make Master Tang unhappy?" Bai Choufei's face immediately became gloomy, a hint of ruthlessness flashing through his eyes. When Iron Light Monarch heard this, his eyes flickered. He said in a low voice, "Little Lu, what does Master Tang mean?" "Master Tang still has feelings for that Zhao Xueqing, so he doesn't want to humiliate her." Lu Fan shook his head and sighed. "But she brought her husband here, which made Master Tang very unhappy, so, understood." Iron Light Monarch snapped his fingers. Then, he exchanged a look with Bai Choufei. His face was ashen as he made a throat-slitting gesture. Bai Choufei nodded and said, "Little Lu, keep an eye on the entrance. Remember to tell us if he's coming. Don't worry, how could we let him run away?" Lu Fan nodded, a flattering smile on his face. What did Lu Fan just say? Why is Master Tai's face turning ashen? Have you heard of Zhao Xueqing from Lin Zhou who broke off the engagement with Master Tang? She seems to be coming, and she even brought her husband with her. What? She's crazy. In less than 10 minutes, a piece of news swept through the crowd like a hurricane. Zhao Xueqing from Lin Zhou has brought her husband to the banquet. At the same time, the information about Zhao Xueqing and Jiang Tian spread to everyone's ears in an instant. She was the daughter of a third-rate family in a small place like Lin Zhou. She was like a country bumpkin, and she was also a burden. She actually cheated Master Tang of tens of millions of yuan, and then broke off the engagement. Wasn't this digging a hole to cheat him? And Jiang Tian was rumored to be even more unbearable. He was the descendant of a fallen family, and he ate, drank, whored, and gambled. He was ignorant and incompetent, and even mentally unstable. He was a good-for-nothing to the extreme. Remember, if you want to curry favor with Master Tang, you must trample on that Jiang Tian tonight. A young master told his sidekick. I brought 7 or 8 bodyguards with me. The sidekick asked seriously, as long as I can curry favor with Master Tang, I can even kill him. But can I kill someone at this kind of banquet? This is going to be fun. He stole Master Tang's woman, and he still dares to come to the banquet of bliss. Master Tang is going to play him to death. There was also a middle-aged black-bellied old man who shook his wine glass and sighed to the starlet next to him. What fun. It's boring. There's no confrontation at all. A tycoon next to him sneered disdainfully, what a good-for-nothing. I'm afraid all the tycoons here can smash him to death with a spit. He'll be scared to death. The banquet of bliss seemed to be very lively and prosperous, but in fact, there were undercurrents and hidden murderous intents. Almost all the tycoons and celebrities were paying attention to the developments of this matter. Master Tang's influence is really great. Without saying a word, he can put Jiang Tian and the others into eternal damnation. Seeing this, Zhou Xianya couldn't help but sneer. Jiang Tian, Zhao Xueqing, you bullied the weak and forced my father to kneel in public. But there's always someone better than you. What's the big deal in a small place like Linzhou? This time, you're going to die when you meet Tang Xiaozi and Lu Fan. Suddenly, she, who was staring at the entrance, pulled Lu Fan. Lu Fan, they're here. Lu Fan quickly turned his head and his eyes suddenly turned cold. He said in a low voice, Jiang Tian, Zhao Xueqing is here. Is that him? He's not knowledgeable at all. He's obviously a loser. Tai Ming Huang's eyes fell on Jiang Tian. His face was full of mockery as he shook his head gently. The banquet of bliss was originally a gathering with a strong sense of entertainment. Everyone was wearing casual clothes of different styles, and there was even no lack of fancy clothes. Only Jiang Tian was wearing a suit and leather shoes. He was meticulously dressed, clearly a bumpkin from the countryside. Granny Lu had just entered the Grand View Garden. He's Jiang Tian. I don't see anything strange about him. He stole Master Tang's woman and actually dared to come. A tycoon said in disbelief. Hee, this Zhao Xueqing isn't that pretty. Her breasts aren't as big as mine, but Master Tang likes her. Guo Jihua, the female celebrity, whispered with a sour face. Don't you know? That Jiang Tian is a lunatic. He drank so much that his brain was damaged. What would a lunatic be afraid of? Another tycoon mocked. She's really here. Tang Xiaozi, who was chatting with Elder Hiroshi, also saw Zhao Xueqing. His eyes flashed with obsession and passion. Chapter 124. Tonight, Zhao Xueqing was dressed up. She wore an off-the-shoulder white evening gown, revealing her snow-white back. On her flawless neck that was like a jade carving, the 8 blessings necklace rippled with a faint glow, making her look radiant and beautiful. Her pure white face was lightly powdered, her clear and beautiful eyes twinkled like the morning stars, and her cherry lips with pink lip gloss were like cherries with dewdrops hanging from them. However, her entire person exuded a kind of ethereal and pure aura, causing people to adore her without the slightest blasphemy. As she walked, a pair of snow-white beautiful feet were faintly discernible under her naturally wrinkled skirt. Her pink toes were painted with bright fingernail polish, giving her a rare charm amidst her purity. She was so beautiful that it could move one's soul. It could be said that Zhao Xueqing attracted countless gazes as soon as she appeared. Unknowingly, she suppressed all the women, making all the men and women gasp in amazement. The men's hearts beat faster, and the women sighed at their inferiority. Even Guo Jihua paled in comparison and sighed at her inferiority. She won in terms of beauty, but she always had a bit of a mortal aura. Zhao Xueqing, on the other hand, was no exaggeration to say that she was like a fairy from the heavens, pure and flawless. However, Zhao Xueqing's small face was delicate and timid, and her eyes seemed to be a bit nervous, which made Tang Xiaozi involuntarily have a desire to protect her. He even wanted to announce loudly, "This is the woman I love, and none of you can offend her today." However, when he saw Zhao Xueqing affectionately holding Jiang Tian's arm, it was as if a basin of cold water was poured over his head. His eyes suddenly turned cold and became a bit sinister. Is this that bastard? The muscles on his cheeks twitched a few times, and a burst of anger and hatred burned in his heart. You still dare to come to my home ground? Are you provoking me and showing off? You're courting death. However, I heard that this brat is a huge piece of trash. If I step out and crush him, it would be an insult to myself. It would make me seem narrow-minded. Forget it, Iron Light Emperor, Bai Chofei, Lu Fan, and the other rich and powerful young masters probably won't let him go. Let them do whatever they want, I only need to watch a good show. In the blink of an eye, many thoughts flashed through Tang Xiao's mind, but he smiled indifferently as if he didn't see Jiang Tian. He threw a glance at Lu Fan and pulled old Mo toward the tide-listening villa. Elder Mo, I heard that a Master Kong from Lingnan killed the Grand Master of Hubei Province, Hong Tianzhao. The rumor has been spreading like wildfire. Is it true? Very soon, his figure disappeared from Tide Hark Villa 12. Receiving the hint from Tang Xiao's eyes, Lu Fan immediately understood. He arrogantly walked in front of Jiang Tian, raised his chin and proudly said, "Isn't this Miss Xiao from Yang City? 3 years ago, our Tang real estate ordered 50 million worth of goods from your company. Do you know about this matter?" "Oh, so it's Director Lu. I know about this matter." Zhao Xueqing smiled faintly with an unnatural look on her face. There were serious problems with the quality of that batch of goods. Not a single box was sold and it's still rotting in the warehouse. I'll have to trouble you to refund it. His face was cold as he said, "Otherwise, I don't think any company here will cooperate with a company that doesn't have good reputation and whose products are of inferior quality. Yeah, this kind of trashy company even dares to cheat young Master Tang. They're simply audacious. We must ban them. Have the province investigate thoroughly. They'll have to bear legal responsibility. Who dares to cooperate with such an untrustworthy company?" Many tycoons echoed, including the bosses of famous pharmaceutical companies. Seeing this, Zhao Xueqing panicked. She didn't expect that the other party would go straight to the heart and put her in a passive position with just a few words. She had just squeezed out a smile, but before she could organize her words, Jiang Tian waved his hand and said, "Where did this fly come from? It's just a nuisance here." As soon as he said this, everyone present was shocked. They couldn't help but look at each other in disbelief. This Jiang Tian was really a lunatic. Although Lu Fan was only Tang Xiao's assistant, he was also a second-tier young master with a powerful background in Yangcheng. His uncle was the deputy secretary of the Provincial Drug Administration, and the Zhao family was in the pharmaceutical industry. It was natural for them to avoid him. If Jiang Tian had a powerful background, it wouldn't be a big deal. But he was just from a small place in Linzhou. Moreover, he was a crazy son-in-law. How dare he speak so arrogantly? Hearing Jiang Tian's words, Lu Fan was so angry that his face turned red. Just as he was about to explode, Yunpeng in camouflage uniform strode forward and pointed at Jiang Tian proudly. "Little brat, you don't know what's good for you. Young Master Lu is speaking to you." He arrogantly scolded with a ruthless expression, "Immediately kneel down, kowtow, admit your mistake, and call us grandfathers 3 times. Otherwise, I'll break your dog legs." He, Yunpeng is a member of the ferocious tiger. He's already in the iron body realm. He's done for. That's right, Yunpeng has a bad temper. If he doesn't agree with him, he'll cripple someone. I'm afraid this brat will really have to go out lying down. When the crowd saw Yunpeng take the lead, they immediately became excited and gloatingly discussed among themselves. "Jiang Tian, are you crazy? How can you speak to young Master Lu like that? Hurry up and apologize." Wei Jiehui shouted. He didn't have any feelings for Jiang Tian, and he couldn't stand how arrogant Jiang Tian was in front of the Wei family. Wei Jieqiong's eyes were also cold as she thought, "Brat, do you know how deep the water is in Yangcheng? This is the result of being arrogant and ignorant." Seeing Lu Fan and Yunpeng speak up, Wei Yang was so scared that his face turned pale. He pulled the girls of the Wei family back and whispered, "Stay away from him. He's in trouble today. Don't splash his blood all over you. This is retribution. That day, you forced my father to kneel at Crouching Dragon Villa and humiliated him. Today, it's finally your turn. Zhou Xianya's eyes were filled with hatred and mockery. She looked at Jiang Tian as if she was looking at a dead person. At this moment, everyone looked at Jiang Tian with disdain. They were judging, indifferent, disdainful, mocking, and gloating. It was as if Jiang Tian could only kneel and beg for mercy in the next moment, becoming the biggest topic of conversation and joke of the banquet tonight. Unexpectedly, Jiang Tian's expression didn't change. He waved his hand and took out 2 glasses of champagne from the waiter's tray. He handed one to Zhao Xueqing and took a sip himself. He ordered, "Mange, slap her." "Yes, master." The last slap was even more stunning. With a crisp slap, Yunpeng's body, which weighed more than 200 kilograms and was like a small mountain, flew out without any feeling of weightlessness. Then, with a boom, he hit the ground. The ground shook and dust flew. Her figure swayed and she slapped Lu Fan's face again. He couldn't withstand a single blow. Half of his face was shattered and he fell to the ground in a coma. What? He dared to hit them. He's crazy. He's crazy. This is the banquet of bliss. Lu Fan and Yunpeng are Tang Xiao's loyal followers. He dared to hit them. He's too arrogant. Many rich and famous people present were dumbfounded. They couldn't believe that Jiang Tian was so strong. "Jiang Tian, how dare you hit them?" Zhou Xianya's body trembled and she screamed. No one knew whether she was shocked or angry. "Why wouldn't I? They're just trash." Jiang Tian smiled faintly. "Bitch, I'm going to kill you." Yunpeng was stunned for a long time before he got up. He roared and rushed toward Shenmange like a bulldozer. "Trash! I've already shown you mercy. How dare you? You're courting death." Shenmange's face was cold. She raised her eyebrows and unleashed the peak level of internal force. She pointed at Yunpeng and her internal force exploded. Bang! Yunpeng was knocked to the ground. He spat out blood and couldn't get up for a long time. Shenmange's finger hit the air. Her posture was elegant and graceful, like an antelope hanging its horn without a trace. However, her strength was tyrannical. Unexpectedly, she beat Wang Yunpeng, a soldier in the army who had cultivated to the level of iron body, until he couldn't stand up. How is that possible? Such a delicate girl actually defeated Yunpeng. All the tycoons and celebrities were shocked. She is a martial artist and has already reached the internal force level. Since when did such a young female martial arts master appear in Linzhou? Not only them, even a few martial arts masters who were hiding in the crowd couldn't believe what they had seen. Such a young girl had reached the level of internal force and could be considered a martial arts master. It was like a legend. How can his subordinates be so powerful? Wei Jiqiong was dumbfounded and couldn't believe it. Humph! What's the point? Beating up Yunpeng will incur the wrath of the public. Wei Jiehui sneered and shook his head. He had just entered the government and hadn't reached the core of the government yet. Most of the people he interacted with were ordinary people. He didn't know that Shenmange could dominate half of Yangcheng with just one finger. This kid has nothing to do with the Wei family. We don't care even if you beat him to death. Wei Yang's eyes were filled with panic as he tried to explain. Kid, fight me if you dare. Soon, Yunpeng got up from the ground with a hand over his chest. His eyes were fierce as he approached Jiang Tian. Ha, do you think a piece of trash like you is worthy of my attention? Even my servant girl is no match for you. Get lost. Jiang Tian's face was calm. He tucked Zhao Xueqing's hair behind her ear and said calmly, I don't want to bully you. There is only one person in Jiangnan that is worthy of my attention. Under everyone's murderous glare, Jiang Tian took a sip of champagne and smacked his lips. In less than 3 days, all the trash here will rush to me and beg to be my lackeys. I am just here to see who is qualified. He ignored everyone's angry glare and said calmly, "Everyone, please do your best." Hearing those words, the crowd's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. Jiang Tian's words had cursed all of the people present. In terms of being domineering and arrogant, among all the hedonistic young masters and magnates present, who could be better than him? Chapter 125. What a lunatic! What is this place? How dare he talk so big? Seeing Shen Mange's power, the members of the Wei family thought that Jiang Tian was powerful. However, after hearing what Jiang Tian said, they suddenly realized that Jiang Tian was too arrogant. Only one person in Jiangnan province is worthy of your attention. You mean Li Jinwei of Foshan? A tycoon asked curiously. Who does he think he is? He doesn't even deserve to be my disciple. Jiang Tian cracked a smile and shook his head. Is that Grandmaster Mo Haoxiong? Bai Qiufei's eyes flashed coldly as he asked. He was also an iron body cultivator and had studied under Grandmaster Mo before. He knew how powerful Grandmaster Mo was. Him. Not good enough. Jiang Tian shook his head again. Then who are you talking about? Chen Xuanlei of the 8 trigrams Wandering Dragon Palm or Li Jiuyang of the Sky River Tai Chi? Everyone asked curiously. Idiot. Jiang Tian cracked a smile. Even Mo Haoxiong couldn't do it. These pieces of trash haven't even reached the transcendent state yet. I am talking about Wei Shuofeng of the Wei family. He might be the only one in Jiangnan province who can last 3 minutes against me. Who's Wei Shuofeng? When the crowd heard this, some rich and famous people who didn't know the inside story were puzzled. Old immortal Wei can only last 3 minutes against you. That's crazy. That's crazy. However, the insiders' eyes almost popped out of their sockets and their faces turned red. They looked at Jiang Tian as if he were an idiot. Iron Ming Huang even shouted. You are so rude. Do you know who Grandmaster Mo is? He has reached the initial success of the transcendent state and is the guardian of the entire Lingnan province. Old immortal Wei is a godlike figure, a once-in-a-century ethereal immortal master. He might reach the Tao body level in the future and become a real immortal. How dare you look down on them? Jiang Tian shook his head in disappointment. That Grandmaster Mo is only at the initial success of the transcendent state. I thought he was an old Grandmaster who had reached the transcendent state. Has he lived for so many years in vain? Old immortal Wei. You guys are really ignorant. You really know how to flatter him. What bullshit immortal? Do you know what a real immortal looks like? In my opinion, he's just a mad dog. I'll hit him twice and he'll be obedient. How dare you insult Mo Haoxiong? He's crazy. Everyone was dumbfounded when they heard this. Their faces were filled with horror. Wei Shuofeng was low-key and mysterious. Ordinary tycoons wouldn't have the chance to meet him, but who didn't know Mo Haoxiong's name? Seeing that he has a good follower, I thought that he had some ability. Who knew that he was just a boastful lunatic? Bai Qiufei sneered, the anger in his eyes turning into contempt. He wasn't even willing to pay attention to Jiang Tian. Tai Ming monarch had a bad temper. He walked up to Jiang Tian and scolded, so what if you are a lunatic? It was as if he had a better brain. How dare you disrespect old immortal Wei and Grandmaster Mo, and humiliate the heroes of Jiangnan. I will kill you all. Exterminate all of them. You sure talk big. Jiang Tian sipped his champagne in satisfaction and smacked his lips. He said in a relaxed manner, as if it was a matter of course. You are just a piece of trash from the Tai family. How dare you put gold on your face like this? How dare you threaten me? You are quite brave. I'll grant you your wish. Mange, slap him. Yes. Shen Mange didn't say anything else. Her face turned cold. She strode forward and slapped Tai Ming monarch. Blood spurted out of his nose and 3 of his molars flew out. Tai Ming Monarch was a rich young master in Lingnan. He was many times more powerful than Lu Fan, but his ending was the same. He was still slapped to the ground by Shin Mange. Everyone at the scene was speechless. They were all shocked by Jiang Tian. Yang Cheng was the bridgehead of the reform and opening up. It was a prosperous place where there were many arrogant young masters. However, they had never seen or heard of someone as arrogant as Jiang Tian. He didn't even care about the famous Tai clan, and even dared to beat up Tai Ming Huang. Either he was a top young master, or he was a madman who couldn't be reasoned with. How dare you? This is the banquet of bliss. Is this a place where you can behave atrociously? Bai Chou-fei was angered to the point where he was about to go crazy. His sharp brows furrowed tightly, and then he shouted, "Left and right, seize him for me." A dozen bodyguards in black suits approached Shin Mange. Their waists were bulging. Apparently, they were stuffed with hard weapons. Some of them were even masters at the peak of the iron body stage. With so many people attacking at the same time, even if Shin Mange had inner strength, she still had to think twice. Humph. Is there only one arrogant and ignorant person in Linzhou? Right at this moment, a cold voice sounded. Everyone turned back and saw a handsome young man walking out of Tide Hark Villa 12 with his hands behind his back. Ji Wangsun. Wei Shuofeng's favorite disciple. Ji Zhuofan's second brother. Everyone's eyes were filled with fanaticism. Who knew how many cried out? Ji Wangsun wore a white gown, black-rimmed glasses, and soft cloth shoes. This was originally a slightly old-fashioned outfit, but when he put it on, he gave off a suave feeling, as if he was a noble young master who had walked out of a water village in the Republic of China. Even old Immortal Wei's disciple is here. This is going to be fun. A rich man shook his head. I heard Ji Wangsun is an expert in magic, especially in illusions and hypnosis. Old Immortal Wei appreciates him. Some even looked at Jiang Tian as if he was a dead man, shaking their heads in disdain and taking pleasure in his misfortune. When they saw him coming over, everyone present dispersed like the tide and consciously opened up a path for him. Young Master Ji is here. Even Tai Ming Emperor and Bai Chou-fei's expressions changed greatly, both of them bowing respectfully with cupped fists, extremely humble. Ji clan's wealth, power, and background couldn't compare to the 4 great clans. But Ji Zhuo and Ji Fan's talents were enough to become Wei Shuofeng's disciples. This was something they couldn't compare to. Especially when Ji Wangsun passed the induction period and entered the Dao. He could use magic to change one's fate, seeking fortune and avoiding disaster. He was an honored guest of many nobles and had a chance of inheriting Wei Shuofeng's legacy. With Ji Wangsun's demeanor, no matter where he went, he would stand out like a crane among chickens. Ji Wangsun clasped his hands behind his back and sauntered into the crowd. He had the air of a transcendent being. Even if he didn't wear any jewelry, he still made many rich men bow their heads in submission and respect. The ladies' hearts swayed as they looked at him with admiration. Arrogant lunatic, you think you can do whatever you want because you have Jiang Bei behind you? He stared at Jiang Tian and said slowly, "Don't worry, Jiang Tian, I'm not going to give you a chance to escape. In this banquet, there are crouching tigers and hidden dragons, geniuses and heroes gathered. You have some cultivation, but you are nothing more than a firefly, not worth mentioning. Crouching tigers and hidden dragons, geniuses and heroes gathered here. You sure know how to flatter yourselves." Even with Ji Wangsun's Dao Qi suppressing him, Jiang Tian was still calm. His lips curled in disdain. "I wonder if I should say something." "What?" Ji Wangsun asked on reflex. "Everyone here is trash." Jiang Tian's face was calm as he sipped his champagne, his eyes full of contempt. "What? So arrogant." Jiang Tian's mouth was too poisonous, cursing all the major powers in Jiangnan. Everyone was so angry they almost fainted. Ignoring everyone's angry glances, Jiang Tian shook his head and said, "You are nothing. You are not even qualified to be my mounts. Geniuses? In my eyes, you are just idiots. Even if you are a once-in-a-century genius, you will have to bow down in front of me, Jiang Tian." Who gave him the confidence to be so arrogant? A rich man mumbled to himself. I think he is relying on Zhao Xueqing. What kind of man is he to rely on a woman to protect him? Another socialite said sourly. But doesn't he know that the Zhao family is nothing compared to these major families? Someone asked in confusion. Lunatic. Someone even shook his head in disdain and said, he's actually a lunatic. Don't you know that his brain is damaged after drinking too much? I am relying on my wife. Bite me if you dare. When Jiang Tian heard this, he was greatly amused. He wanted to satisfy his wife's vanity, so he hugged Zhao Xueqing's arm and hid behind her back. He acted like a spoiled child and said, "My dear wife, look, quickly protect me. Look at how fierce they are. They want to bully me. Aya, you have offended so many people, and you are still in the mood to joke." Zhao Xueqing was amused by Jiang Tian's words. She twisted his ear and said, "Hurry up and clean up my mess. Since you are already so crazy and stupid, then don't come out and embarrass yourself anymore. Just be a vegetable for the rest of your life and lie at home for the rest of your life." After being continuously humiliated by Jiang Tian, Ji Wangsuan's eyes turned cold. He stomped his right foot on the ground, and with a muffled sound, the ground started to shake violently. Yellow earth qi rose up and gushed towards his fingertips. Ji Wangsun made a sign with his right hand and chanted. Primordial yang comes from the heavens and forms from the earth. Man is the father of the heavens and the mother of the earth. This is the art of creation. The great river absorbs the qi, the trickle of water is not affected by the wind. His eyes were full of contempt, but his face was red. He didn't show any mercy. After all, his brother Jizhua's soul was destroyed by Jiang Tian. According to his speculations, according to Taoist teachings, Jiang Tian might have fallen seriously ill, and this was a tribulation. Instead, he obtained natural luck, and should have already sensed or entered the Tao. Earth Emperor's 6 Ren's art, soul slaying. Ji Wangsun growled in his mind as he pointed his finger at Jiang Tian's head. Immediately, the torrential earth qi was controlled by him and turned into a mental attack, directly attacking the depths of Jiang Tian's mind. You have the nerve to embarrass yourself with such a trashy magical art? At this moment, everyone felt that something was amiss, and their eyes were filled with fear. However, Jiang Tian was calm as he continued to sip on his champagne and smiled. Qing'er, Qianru, let me show you guys a trick that is not suitable for children. Just as the mental attack was about to enter Jiang Tian's mind, he raised his eyebrows and with a loud boom, a surge of divine sense transformed into a sharp sword and pierced into the depths of Ji Wangsun's mind. Ji Wangsun only felt a sharp pain in his head, and the soul slash immediately dissipated. What made him even more panicked was that his stomach suddenly rumbled and a surge of defecation crazily attacked him. It was the kind that could not be held back at all. Chapter 126. Fuck, what's going on? Ji Wangsun clenched his fists, his eyes widened, and his body was drenched in sweat. He turned around and ran back to the villa. However, he suddenly realized that the short distance of a few hundred meters seemed to stretch on forever. He could not help but complain and defend the dignity of an adult. I can't take it anymore. Ji Wangsun's tears gushed out of his eyes. His voice was laced with tears. Suddenly, a dense forest appeared in front of him. He gritted his teeth and growled, "Victory is right in front of you, you can hold it in." After a mad dash, he finally arrived. The crowd was already far behind him. Just like the feeling of helplessness during the last set of a workout, Ji Wangsun could only think of one thing in his head, even if it's the King of Heaven, I'll show you. The sphincter finally ran out of ATP stored in the cells. No one could stop the urge of the excrement in the rectum to breathe fresh air. Finally, the dam burst, and the excrement rushed out. Thank goodness no one saw me. He rushed into the dimly lit woods, pulled open his trousers, and grumbled to himself with relief. This feels good. Ji Wang-sun heaved a sigh of contentment. He did not bring any toilet paper with him, so he could only use his hands to wipe it off. Suddenly, the noise around him grew louder and louder until it became a cacophony of noises. The scenery in front of him became clearer and clearer. Like the opening of a stage, the lights gradually lit up. Has Ji Wang-sun lost his mind? Why is he defecating in public? Fuck, he's using his hands to wipe it off. Disgusting. Everyone exclaimed in disbelief. I thought he was a master. Who would have thought? He's so shameless. There were even young women who turned their heads away in embarrassment. Their eyes were filled with disgust and disgust. Shocking. Young Master Ji Wang-sun of Yangcheng is defecating in public. Is this human nature or moral decay? Breaking news. Young Master Ji Wang-sun defecated in public. Superstar Guo Ji vomited 3 times. There was no shortage of reporters in a place like this. There were already reporters who had turned on their cameras and cameras. They snapped away madly, chattering away as they gave their news headlines. Yes, in everyone's eyes, after Ji Wang-sun inexplicably stomped his feet, he began to run around in circles like a headless fly, running back and forth like a madman. Then, he pulled down his pants and pulled them up as if there was no one around. I actually dared to. In an instant, Ji Wang-sun's eyes widened, and his face turned red, white, green, and purple. It was like a monitor with a faulty graphics card. He was so embarrassed that if there was a piece of tofu in front of him right now, he would smash his head against it without hesitation. If there was a crack in the ground now, he would jump in without hesitation, even if it was the 18th level of hell below. He wanted to cry but had no tears. His illustrious reputation had been destroyed in a single day. Perhaps this matter would spread throughout Yangcheng, Lingnan, and even Huaxia by tomorrow. It might even spread to the other side of the ocean. What's more, it's the kind with pictures and video evidence. Jiang Tian, what kind of magic did you use? Zhao Xueqing's face was completely red. She was too embarrassed to look at Ji Wangsun's ugly appearance. She only used her fists to beat Jiang Tian's chest and said coquettishly, "You're too bad, too immoral. What you did, do you want him to live? Will he commit suicide by hanging? Or will he just smash his head against the wall?" Zhao Qianru's face was full of sympathy. Is it fun? Jiang Tian hugged his beloved wife's waist and said with a chuckle. I'm dying of laughter. It's fun, it's so funny. Zhao Xueqing was overjoyed, but in the next moment, she said with a straight face, it's just a bit vulgar. Hubby was originally a vulgar person, but with the influence of my wife, I will also become an elegant person. Jiang Tian said with a chuckle. What are you doing? Still taking pictures, you want to die. A few of the third-rate young masters quickly came to their senses and snatched the reporters' cameras. They verbally threatened the reporters to delete the photos and videos. A few other young masters surrounded Ji Wang-sun with clothes and umbrellas so that it would be easier for him to change his clothes and avoid exposing himself. Jiang Tian, you've gone too far, I will not let you off the hook. Ji Wangsun's body trembled and his face was contorted. He pointed at Jiang Tian and shouted angrily. He glared at Jiang Tian with hatred and resentment. There were even a few drops of tears in his eyes. He looked like a pretty girl from a poor family who had been humiliated by a young master. It was a sad and moving scene. Hee, you're still far from it. Ask your master to come here. Jiang Tian laughed. But your sorcery is so bad, I don't have much hope for your master. You're trash. Your master is trash too. Jiang Tian's words shocked another group of people. Good, just you wait. Ji Wangsun had already realized that he had fallen for Jiang Tian's sorcery. Moreover, Jiang Tian's sorcery was so vivid and lifelike that it could pass off as real. It was definitely not something he could compare with. Besides, even if his sorcery was stronger than Jiang Tian's, he had already been humiliated like that. He had lost his drive and his Dao heart was in chaos. How could he still fight against Jiang Tian? Under the escort of a few young masters, he left the crowd with a gloomy face and rushed into the villa. Bai Choufei and Tai Minghuang also vaguely realized that Jiang Tian should have something to rely on. Otherwise, Ji Wangsun wouldn't have fallen for his trick. Although they hated Jiang Tian to the bone, they didn't dare to act rashly. Bai Choufei's hatred overflowed to the heavens, his pair of long and narrow eyes extremely sinister. He suddenly sneered, raising his hand to point at Jiang Tian and saying, "Jiang Tian, you dare hit people at the Banquet of Bliss, then take a trip to the police station." As he spoke, he fished out his phone and dialed a number. Hearing that, Tai Minghuang covered his swollen face and sneered. "Jiang Tian, no matter how arrogant you are, how dare you go against the state's violence department in public? Just wait for your death." The Banquet of Bliss had a large number of police officers. After receiving the call, a dozen police officers arrived in less than 3 minutes. The police officer in the lead looked like the deputy director of the Yang City Police Department. He was in his 40s, tall and strong, and had a square face. He said in a deep voice, "I am Shin Gang, the Deputy Director of the Municipal Public Security Bureau. Mr. Jiang, you are suspected of intentional assault. Please come with us and cooperate with the investigation." "Hee, this arrogant brat is done for." Yeah, a small family from Linzhou City dares to behave atrociously at the Banquet of Bliss. When they saw this, everyone looked at Jiang Tian with disdain and ridiculed him while taking pleasure in his misfortune. The few young masters that Jiang Tian had offended all had powerful backgrounds. They had deep connections in politics. If they worked together, they would be able to stir up a storm and topple a city hall level official. A mere Jiang Tian, wouldn't he be toyed to death by them? "Kid, do you know how powerful we are now? Just surrender obediently. If you dare to resist, you'll be resisting arrest. Your crime will be even more serious." Tai Minghuang, Bai Choufei, and the other young masters were confident of their victory. They looked at Jiang Tian with disdain and said arrogantly, "Humph, Jiang Tian, so what if you are popular in Jiangbei? Unfortunately, this is Yang City." Zhou Xianya looked at Jiang Tian with disdain as if she was looking at a dead man. Daring to resist so many young masters in Yang City, he can be considered capable. Unfortunately, he failed at the last step. He is far from enough. Since ancient times, people have never fought with officials. Yang City is the political center of Lingnan. Which young master here doesn't know a few city hall officials? Wei Jiqiong, Wei Jiehui, and the others felt as if they were sitting on a roller coaster. They had been shocked by Jiang Tian's strength before, but now, they looked at Jiang Tian with disdain, thinking that Jiang Tian would lose without a doubt. Yes, Jiang Tian dares to fight in Jiangnan. He has no one in his eyes. Send him to prison. Wei Jiqiong sneered and shouted. Jiang Tian had offended the Ji, Tai, Bai, Lu, and other great families. Behind them stood the Colossus Tang family. If the Wei family didn't express their attitude and draw a clear line, they would be eaten up by them. "Cousin, how can you do this?" Zhao Qianru couldn't believe what she had heard. Jiang Tian was a member of the Wei family, and yet, Wei Jiqiong wanted to arrest Jiang Tian. Her other cousins also agreed with her. This kind of attitude made Zhao Qianru's heart turn cold. "Jiang Tian, what should we do now?" "Don't fight with them." Even Zhao Xueqing was a little worried, and her face turned pale. Jiang Tian had a lot of influence in Jiangbei. However, Yang City was the political center of Lingnan, and Lin Zhou's connections were not useful here. Don't resist, or you will be shot to death. A few police officers pulled out their handcuffs and pulled out their handguns. Then, they approached Jiang Tian and the others. Just as everyone thought that Jiang Tian was at his wit's end, Shen Meng suddenly stood up. Shen Mange stepped forward and stood side by side with Jiang Tian. She smiled and said, "Deputy Director Shen, do you want to arrest me?" As soon as Shen Gang saw Shen Mange, his eyes immediately widened. He clapped his feet together and saluted with a face full of reverence. He was so excited that his voice trembled. "Eldest young miss, why are you here?" Shen Gang was from the side branch of the Shen family. According to seniority, he was Shen Mange's distant uncle. However, Shen Gang used only 5 years to rise from a penniless patrol officer in a police station to the position of deputy director of the Municipal Public Security Bureau just by relying on his indifferent blood relationship with the Shen family. That was because the Shen family was one of the top political families in Yanjin. The family had 3 provincial-level officials and even 1 deputy national-level official. There were only a handful of people in Huaxia that could suppress the Shen family. When Shen Gang saw Shen Mange, it was like Granny Lu seeing a young lady like Dai Baochai. How could he not be shocked and disrespectful? But the people who didn't know the inside story were dumbfounded and petrified. Even Bai Choufei and Tai Ming Huang were shocked. They couldn't believe it. This guy's maid or female bodyguard was respected by Deputy Director Shen so much? I'm just here with my master for a walk. Shen Mange instantly changed from a submissive maid and hired thug to a lofty and peerless empress. She smiled reservedly. "This Mr. Jiang is your master." Shen Gang couldn't believe it. He was so shocked that his lips trembled. He looked at Jiang Tian with fear. Chapter 127. This was Shen Mange, a descendant of the Shen family. Back then, she was one of the top socialites in Yanjing, high above like an empress. However, this unprepossessing young man in front of him was actually his master. Then what was his identity? A young master who came out of the Red Wall to gain experience. This wasn't enough. Even if he was a third-generation descendant of the Red Wall, he could only be considered as a couple with Shen Mange. For a moment, Shen Gang's mind was boiling. No matter how hard he racked his brains, he still couldn't figure out Jiang Tian's identity. "Chief Shen, can I leave now?" Jiang Tian's expression was calm as he smiled faintly. Of course. Of course. "Mr. Jiang, do you want me to escort you?" Shen Gang ignored the warning looks of Bai Choufei and the others. He nodded and bowed towards Jiang Tian with a flattering expression. Bai Choufei and the others naturally had good identities, but compared to Shen Mange, they were far too inferior. They weren't even fit to carry her shoes. "There's no need." Jiang Tian refused Shen Gang's good intentions. He lazily stretched out his arm and said with a smile, "Mange, your performance today is not bad. I'll allow you to work side by side with me." For a moment, everyone was stunned. This young woman who could suppress Chief Shen Gang wanted to work side by side with him, but she still needed his permission. However, what happened next made everyone even more petrified. Shen Mange actually smiled sweetly and obediently grabbed Jiang Tian's arm. She lowered her head and looked at him submissively like a maid. Under the resentful, shocked, and confused gazes of the rich and famous young masters and daughters, Jiang Tian drank the champagne in his cup in one gulp. Under the escort of Zhao Xueqing and the others, he swaggered out of the venue. When he walked to the side of Bai Choufei and the others, Jiang Tian said with a smile full of mockery, "I've slapped your faces, so what can you do to me? I've already said that you're nothing but trash. However, since you're going to be my lackeys in the future, it wouldn't be good if I hurt you and affect your ability to bite others. I'll let you off for now." After saying that, he floated away. These words angered Tai Ming monarch, Bai Choufei, and the others so much that they almost spat out 3 liters of blood, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. But he couldn't beat Jiang Tian, and the police didn't arrest him. He could only watch helplessly as Jiang Tian slowly led the crowd away. Sensing that something was amiss, Bai Chou and Tai Ming Huang dragged Shen Gang to a villa and asked with knitted brows, "What's going on, Chief Shen? If we let them go just like that, where will we put our faces?" Shen Gang smiled helplessly and said, "If you want to catch them, go catch them yourselves. I don't dare to catch them." He shook his head and said, "That Madame Mange standing behind Jiang Tian is a descendant of the Shen family in Beijing." "A direct descendant." "What? He's a descendant of the Shen family in Beijing? Then why does Shen Mange want to be his follower? That shouldn't be." Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe what they heard. They couldn't afford to offend such a powerful family. Even if they worked together, they still wouldn't be able to defeat him. They're probably a couple who came here to roleplay. How can we guess the power of such a powerful family? Shen Gang smiled helplessly and didn't bother to talk to them anymore. Damn it, relying on a woman and living off her. What kind of man is that? Tai Ming Monarch's eyes were ferocious. He gritted his teeth, wishing he could tear Jiang Tian into pieces. Are we just going to let him do whatever he wants in Yangcheng? No, we have to deal with him. Bai Choufei also said with a gloomy face. The news of Jiang Tian causing a ruckus at the Banquet of Bliss and trampling on a few young masters in Yangcheng spread like a hurricane. Everyone in the upper-class society of Yangcheng knew about it, and Wei Jinghu also heard about it. Late at night, Wei Jinghu's villa was still brightly lit. Many senior members of the Wei family had gathered, and even Wei Fang was called over from Linzhou City. Wei Jinghu was furious and said coldly, "How can such a rude and brainless guy be in charge of the Zhao Pharmaceutical Company?" "Wei Fang, what are you thinking?" "Dad, Jiang Tian is called Master Kong in Linzhou City, and even the Tang family respects him. I saw it with my own eyes," Wei Fang said. What a joke, what a joke. How could a lunatic become some bullshit Grandmaster Jiang? Wei Tianhe sneered and said, "Sister, do you know what he has done this time? Not only did he beat up young Master Lu and Yunpeng, he also beat up Tai Ming Monarch and Bai Choufei. He has offended the Tang family and the other major families." "What? Jiang Tian has done this?" Wei Fang's face also changed and she felt uneasy. Although she had seen the heroes of Jiangbei respect Jiang Tian, she had never seen Jiang Tian display his power. She didn't know what Master Kang's name meant and whether he could withstand so many giants. "Isn't that right?" Wei Tianduan scolded. "Jihue, didn't you all go together? Why didn't you stop him? Weren't there police and security guards? A bunch of trash, why did you let him cause trouble?" Wei Jihue lowered his head in shame. He had brought Jiang Tian with him to wait for Jiang Tian to be trampled by Tang Xiaozi. Who would have thought that Jiang Tian would be able to suppress them? Wei Jiqiong couldn't listen anymore. "Uncle, we didn't expect this either. Jiang Tian is too violent." It was just a quarrel, but Jiang Tian immediately gave the order to attack. "We didn't have time to stop him." "Okay, stop quarreling." Wei Jinghu had already made a decision. He said coldly, "Wei Fang, listen to me. Now, cut off all ties with Jiang Tian and his wife and take back the company's shares. We don't want to be implicated and implicate the Wei family." "Dad, no." Wei Fang said firmly, "Jiang Tian is not an ordinary person. Zhao's pharmaceutical company will rely on him in the future. Are you trying to anger me to death?" Wei Jinghu originally didn't like his daughter who had married Zhao Hucheng. Now that she didn't listen to his advice, he couldn't help but be furious. He slammed the table and said, "If you don't cut off all ties with him, then we will cut off all ties. You don't want to be my daughter anymore. You married a trash, and now Zhao Xueqing married a scourge. What future do you think your bloodline has?" As long as you don't kill us, we still have a future. First Ant and the others echoed in disdain. Wei Fang was still a little hesitant at first, but when she heard this, her grievance and anger were aroused. She stood up and said, I know that you have never thought highly of me, and I have never thought of relying on the Wei family. So what if we cut off all ties? She walked away and sneered. How do you know the ability of my son-in-law? Sooner or later, you will need to rely on my son-in-law. Seeing her walk out with her head held high, everyone was stunned and couldn't believe it. Jiang Tian was a lunatic, and Wei Fang had also become a lunatic. Damn, they were a bunch of lunatics. How dare you? How dare you? Wei Jinghu stood up and slammed the table. He shouted angrily, Tian Duan, contact Lingnan Daily immediately and publish an advertisement. Our Wei family has cut off all ties with the Zhao family. Jiang Tian's life and death have nothing to do with us. The next day, the news of lunatic Jiang causing a ruckus spread further. This shocking news was spread all over Lingnan, north and south of the Pearl River. Lu Fan was slapped in the face and had a concussion. Yun Peng's ribs were hit by Shen Mange and 3 of his ribs were broken. He was out of danger. Ji Wang, son of the Ji family, was humiliated by Jiang Tian, and by Chou Fei and Tai Minghuang were also slapped in the face. The entire Lingnan was paying attention to this news. On one side was the mysterious Jiang Tian, who seemed to have the support of a force in Yanjin. On the other side were the Tang family, the Ji family, the Bai family, the Tai family, the Du family and the LV family. This dispute involved too many people, especially since Ji Wang's son was the disciple of Wei Shuofeng. However, most people still thought that Jiang Tian was doomed. If these families worked together, they would be able to turn the world upside down. Even if Jiang Tian had the support of a powerful family in Yanjin, he might not be able to resist them. On this day, the announcement of Wei Jinghu and Wei Fang severing ties was spread all over Yangcheng. Especially when Jiang Tian's name was mentioned in the advertisement. They said that Jiang Tian was cruel and disrespectful. Wei Jinghu knows everything about Jiang Tian, but he doesn't think that Jiang Tian will win. This means that Jiang Tian doesn't have the power to resist the attacks of these families. Someone with a discerning eye commented. Meanwhile, in the intensive care unit of the First People's Hospital in Yangcheng, Lu Zhen, one of the top 20 tycoons in Yangcheng, stood in front of the bed and looked at his son with a pale face. Around him were the members of the Lu family. Lu Fan's mother and Zhou Xianya were crying. Honey, the doctor said that he's in a vegetative state due to a severe concussion. He can only lie in bed for the rest of his life. Lu Fan's mother lamented. He's too ruthless. That Jiang bastard is inhumane. Lu Zhen gnashed his teeth. I will have my revenge. I will make him pay with his blood. Uncle Lu, Lu Fan did it for me. This happened because of me. I won't stand by and do nothing. Tang Xiaozi bowed with a pained and apologetic face. Lu Zhen was in a high position. Despite the pain in his heart, he still maintained his etiquette and helped Tang Xiaozi up. Xiaozi, don't blame yourself. It's all Jiang Tian's fault for being so arrogant. He even attacked during the blissful banquet. He's insane. Tang Xiaozi's eyes flashed. That Jiang Tian seems to have some skill. He even injured brother Ji Zhua. Now that Elder Wei has come out of seclusion and is holding a banquet, I will personally ask him to kill him. Yeah, this time, even old immortal Wei is going to come out of seclusion. Hearing this, a hint of joy appeared on Lu Zhen's face. Old immortal Wei was Jiang Nan's guardian. If he made a move, wouldn't he be able to crush Jiang Tian with a wave of his hand? And, not just me, but the Tai, Bai, and Ji clans will also ask Elder Wei to take care of Jiang Tian. Tang Xiaozi took pleasure in Lu Zhen's misfortune. In fact, Tang Xiaozi didn't expect Jiang Tian to have the guts to go against Jiang Nan's heroes and was caught off guard. But after learning the details, he was happy to see Lu Xun's misfortune. Jiang Tian angered everyone and they all came together to attack him. That was for the best. It wouldn't make him seem narrow-minded. Good, good, good. I will also have my old subordinates from the Pharmacy Bureau investigate Zhao Pharmacy. Lu Fan's grandfather, Lu Gongho, who had been silent all this time, spoke. This time, I will make that Jiang Tian die without a grave. I will avenge my poor grandson. In the depths of his eyes, a cold light flashed like that of a vicious wolf, as if he was about to devour someone. Chapter 128. After leaving the ward, Tang Xiaozi sneered. Jiang Tian, oh Jiang Tian, I don't need to do anything this time. The rich and powerful clans in Yangcheng will tear you to pieces. He turned his head to look at his follower and asked, oh right, where is Yunpeng? What's the situation? He's been transferred to the Military General Hospital. He's still mumbling things like, Tang Family Grand Guest Elder, and, Martial Arts Grandmaster. He said he's going back to the Feral Tiger base first. The attendant was baffled. Oh, let him be. Maybe he has an urgent mission. Tang Xiaozi didn't take it to heart. His attention was mainly on the government and the Wei clan. They were enough to deal with Jiang Tian. But Jiang Tian, who was in the eye of the storm, was calmer than anyone else. He was playing the zither with his wife, reading the golden scriptures, tasting fragrant tea, smelling sandalwood, and accompanying the green plum blossoms. Hubby, why can you play such beautiful music with the white ape bone zither but I can't? On the table by the window, Zhao Xueqing stroked the tough strings of the white ape bone zither. But the sharp pain in her fingers made her unable to make even the slightest sound. But she had once seen Jiang Tian play this bone zither with her own eyes. The sound was pleasant to the ear, sometimes like the gurgling clear spring flowing over the stones in the pine forest, sometimes like the golden spears and armored horses, a solemn atmosphere. She even saw that after Jiang Tian plucked the strings of the zither, qi weapons burst out and smashed the boulders into pieces. Qing'er, you can only play this zither after you cultivate. Jiang Tian put down a book of the yellow court scripture and looked at her lovingly as he smiled faintly. Cultivation is too boring, isn't it? I've seen you meditate for days without eating, drinking, sleeping, or resting. Zhao Xueqing appeared to be in a difficult position. She shook her head and said coquettishly, it's more suitable for me to be a small businessman. All right. Jiang Tian flipped open the scroll and sipped his tea. He smiled leisurely and said, I just want you to be carefree, always as simple and pure as a 16-year-old girl. Jiang Tian didn't care whether Qing'er cultivated or not. Cultivation had its advantages and disadvantages. The advantage was naturally that she could become a powerhouse, even immortal. The disadvantage was that once she stepped on the path of cultivation, it would be a thorny land, a bloody road, and there would be no lack of competition and killing. Jiang Tian had returned after 10,000 years of cultivation. His state of mind was already different from that of ordinary people. In his opinion, as long as he was happy and stable without having to wander around, even a short life was more meaningful than immortality. A day passed quickly. At 1 in the morning, Tang Xiaozi arrived at a grand manor on Tidehark Mountain. The manor was located at the top of the Tidehark Mountain and overlooking the Victoria Harbor across the sea. It had great feng shui. The banquet of bliss was held here in a low-key manner. Walking into the extravagantly decorated hall, Tang Xiaozi saw that Tai Ming Huang, Bai Choufei, and other first-rate young masters of Sheep City were all gathered here. The young talents of the younger generation could be said to be gathered together, the seats filled with distinguished friends. Not only them, even the Tai clan head, Bai clan head, and other powerful figures of the older generation were all present. These wealthy families were all worth more than 10 billion. In addition, there were many high-ranking government officials and even a vice-chairman of the Chinese Political Consultative Conference. Other than that, there were also many famous cultivators of the southern faction, such as Heng Yi the Immortal, Su Wenjie, Tao Fengshe, and so on. Some of these people were proficient in searching for dragons and exploring caves, some were proficient in reading faces, some were proficient in geomancy, some were proficient in counting plum blossoms. Each of them had their own accomplishments, and had unfathomable abilities. They were the distinguished guests of high officials and nobles, and their status was revered. However, they had all been taught by Wei Shuofeng and were very grateful to Old Man Wei. Today, they also came to the banquet to wish Old Man Wei a long life. Leaning against the northern wall, on a high platform, an old man dressed in a white robe sat upright on it with an air of immortality. He was about 70 years old, but his face was ruddy, his hair was white, and his complexion was ruddy. His entire body exuded a faint pressure that could even suppress the martial Dao master Mo Haoxiong. There was a pile of gifts behind him, including expensive antiques, jewelry, mansion keys, bank cards and checks. The total value was at least a few hundred million. Tang Xiaozi didn't want to show off his status in this place. After bowing to Old Man Wei, he sat down next to Tai Minghuang. Minghuang, what is Old Man Wei talking about? Tang Xiaozi asked. The Jiangbei alliance. Tai Minghuang's face became serious. He said in a low voice, Master Kong has gathered all the heroes together. They are discussing this matter now. Meanwhile, the family head of the Bai family was speaking. According to the secret information I got, the Master Kong killed Xing Shanhu on Yi Gufeng's boat and saved the Jiangbei alliance. That's why he got everyone's support. The family head of the Tai family pulled a long face and said in a deep voice. This alliance is no small matter. Even the Tang family who had always stayed out of the affairs of the Jianghu has joined the alliance. They have invited Master Kong to be their guest of honor. Even the Tang family is under his control. How powerful is he? Tang Xiaozi was moved by the revelation. Mo Haoxiong heaved a sigh and said, I heard that Master Kong had killed the tycoon of Hubei province, Hong Tianzhao. I'm afraid he has already reached the phenomenal state. There is a grandmaster in Jiangbei. Hong Tianzhao is one of the top 20 grandmasters in the world. If this Master Kong is so powerful, we will be in trouble. A martial Dao grandmaster is a dragon among men. Who can stop him from sweeping through Jiangnan? Everyone's face paled after hearing the news. Hong Tianzhao was even more powerful than Mo Haoxiong. If this Master Kong could conquer Jiangbei, Mo Haoxiong wouldn't be able to stop him. Many tycoons said anxiously. Old Immortal Wei, I'm afraid that the next step of the alliance would be to attack Jiangbei. You have to come up with a plan. Over the years, the north and the south of the Pearl River had been at odds with each other. Even Tang Xiaozi had fought with Yi Gufeng in the past. With Wei Shuofeng as their backer, they had been able to expand their business into Jiangbei. Although they had made some gains, they had also become enemies with the other powers in Jiangbei. If Jiangbei was allowed to grow, they would probably lead their troops to the south and swallow up the territory of Jiangnan. They would then carry out bloody revenge on everyone present. Is this Master Kong really that scary? Tang Xiaozi's face was pale as a sheet. That was the power of a grandmaster. For decades, the tycoons of Jiangbei had never been afraid of the three cities of Jiangbei. They had always treated the three cities like dogs. However, due to the appearance of Master Jiang in Jiangbei, the situation was reversed in an instant. Everyone became anxious. Tai Minghuang broke out in a cold sweat. Xiaozi, my father said that this feast of bliss is to discuss how to deal with Master Kang's rise and the establishment of the Jiangbei alliance. Everyone was in a state of panic. Only Wei Shuofeng remained calm, as if he hadn't heard anything. Beneath Wei Shuofeng's seat, a delicate and pretty youth stood up, swept his gaze over the crowd, and lightly said, Don't panic, everyone. In fact, my grandfather already knew of Jiangbei's movements. A cold glint flashed across his eyes as he said indifferently, Furthermore, they've already begun their operation. What did you say, Daoist Wei? The Wei clan has already made a move. Everyone was overjoyed when they heard this and looked at each other in disbelief. He was Wei Shuofeng's grandson, Wei Peng. His talent was monstrous and he was in the early stage of the profound understanding stage. He was proficient in magical arts, physiognomy, geomancy, and astrology. In Jiangbei, he was known as Daoist Wei. Ji Zhua and Ji Fan were his juniors, but they were far from his level in magical arts. He was the head of Yang City's 4 great young masters, able to suppress Tang Shaozi, Bai Choufei, and Tai Minghuang. My grandfather's foresight is divine. He saw the changes in heaven and earth, a dragon rising from Jiangbei. Wei Peng's eyes were cold as he snorted. Since that's the case, we naturally have to take advantage of the fact that this dragon is still young and kill it in the bud. That's right. Old immortals should be like this, striking first to gain the upper hand. The clan heads and rich men sighed. The Feast of Bliss is about to begin. My Wei clan has invited Master Kong to join us. Wei Peng was like a little Zhuge Liang who held the pearl of wisdom in his hands. And tonight, the Wei clan's 28 Dao initiation and profound understanding disciples will move out, crossing the Pearl River and pointing their swords at Jiangbei. Their targets are Yi Gufeng, Xue Mingyi, Zhen Guangxia, Dragon Fifth, Zhou Zhenghao, Lu Zikuan, and Zhao Hucheng. Wonderful! Wonderful! The crowd applauded and cheered. The Bai family's lord said, no matter how powerful that Master Kong is, I don't think he has the ability to split himself into two, right? With such a multi-pronged approach, the Wei clan will definitely be able to wipe out all the heroes of Jiangbei in one fell swoop. Lord Bai, I think you are wrong. Wei Peng sneered and said, that Master Kong of Jiangbei is really here. He is in Yang City right now. It's not that he can't split himself into two, it's that he is too far away. He really dares to come. Isn't he afraid of being killed by old immortal Wei? That's right. Compared to our old immortal Wei, he's just trash. Everyone said in disdain. Hee, it's better that he is here. Someone slapped his thigh and laughed maniacally. What Jiangbei heroes! Without Grandmaster Zhang's protection, they're nothing but ants. They're nothing but shit. Old immortal Wei is so wise. So wise. After this operation, Jiangbei will be ours. This time, old immortal Wei has finally unified the Lingnan region. He has achieved immortality. Everyone cupped their fists and bowed to Wei Shuofeng, praising him like a tide. Wei Shuofeng sat on the stage like a block of wood. His eyes were emotionless as if none of this had anything to do with him. However, the crowd was not surprised and continued to flatter him. Wei Shuofeng had always been an eccentric person. He was a man of few words and had asked his grandson, Wei Peng, to do the honors for him. Wei Peng took out an antique pocket watch and looked at it. He smiled and said, looking at the time, they should have arrived at Jiangbei by now. Let's wait for the good news. If we can take down Jiangbei, I want to buy Yi Gufeng's shipping company, Lord Tang, why don't we work together and take down Zhen Guangxia's real estate company? Now that victory was in their hands, everyone was at ease. They began to whisper to each other, discussing how to divide up the territory of Jiangbei. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.